And thanks to tonight's in-house entertainment, the Samantha Russell Band. They'll be here with us throughout the evening. We'd like to welcome all of you to Wellington International, Week 11 of the Winter Equestrian Festival. And one of the highlights of our circuit takes place tonight, the final for the Meter 50 Hermès Series here at Wellington International, $150,000 competition that we are gearing up for now, just about half an hour away. Now, since the company was founded in 1837, Hermès remains dedicated to making high-quality, handcrafted equestrian products for the horse, rider, and barn. Our workshops maintain a tradition of saddle making passed down from generation to generation of skilled artisans. With a strong commitment to innovation, Hermès integrates new materials and technology to develop high-performance technical apparel and equipment to meet the needs of riders at the highest level of equestrian sport. Hermès is proud to expand their support of the Winter Equestrian Festival with their sponsorship of the Hermès Meter 50 Championship Jumper Series and presence in the International Warm-Up Ring and Riders Lounge. And the professional staff is pleased to offer the highest level of specialized customer services to ensure your comfort and safety this season. The winner of the 2024 Hermès Meter 50 Championship Jumper Series will take home a $10,000 store credit to Hermès. Be sure not to miss the Wellington International Shop, located across from the Tiki Hut. The Wellington International Shop is your ultimate destination for style. Explore a curated collection of merchandise that speaks to your passion. Visit the Wellington International Shop today and get your exclusive Winter Equestrian Festival gear. Just about 30 minutes away from the start. At this time, we ask that you please direct your attention to the video board.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, here we are getting ready for a great Saturday night, and of course the Meter 50 Classic Series coming to an end here on this Week 11 Saturday Night Lights performance, and we're looking forward to some great competition coming up, as always, out here on the big field. As we get closer to the end of the circuit for 2024, it's a great time for us to, first of all, recognize our entire group of sponsors, but also to recognize some who have put in a great effort both in the ring and outside of the ring in 2024 during the entirety of our Winter Series. And we've got some special awards before we kick things off here for the competition this evening. The first of these awards will be the Carly Anthony Jr. Sportsmanship Trophy. And in its 24th consecutive year, Carly Anthony has taken on the honor of presenting the Junior Sportsmanship Trophy, previously presented by her mother, Cara Anthony, a circuit award given to the junior rider consistently demonstrating outstanding conduct, stellar attitude, as well as graciousness and excellent horsemanship as a competitor during the Winter Equestrian Festival. The trophy honors the memory of Carly's grandmother, Candida Forstmann, who believed the good sportsmanship should be recognized and rewarded in young riders who one day will be selected to represent our country. Past winners have included Carly McCutcheon, Luke Jensen, Wynn Babington, as well as Tanner Karotkin, Robert Matz, Michaela Langmeyer, Lucy Delaurier, Victoria Colvin, Sean Cassidy, and Lucy Davis, among others. This year's winner is being presented by Carly and Cara Anthony, and they're honored to present the award this year to our recipient, R.J. Maya. R.J. Maya earning the Sportsmanship Award for 2024. Congratulations, and what an honor it is. Of course, we always know that what happens here in the ring is a big focus, but what takes place throughout the grounds, including in the show ring and outside of their fellow competitors, is equally important, and that Sportsmanship Award honors that. Of course, a lot that happens in this ring is due to the efforts of some of our staff, and this evening, we'd like to celebrate an exceptional figure in equestrian sports by the name of Andy Christensen as we award him the David E. Burton Jr. Perpetual Trophy for his extraordinary service. Andy was born in Quito, Ecuador in October of 1985, October 8th, in fact. He had an early passion for horses where he started riding at his family farm at the age of 4 years old. In 2001, Andy's family came to the United States. Andy started working jump crew locally with his dad, Andres, in 2022. And while he was still attending high school, Andy quickly excelled at his skills as a jump crew member and began traveling the circuits throughout the country. He was recognized quickly for his leadership skills and became a jump crew coordinator and leader at many of the top shows throughout the country. Being a quick study, he picked up the skills of a course designer and became a USEF course designer in both hunter and jumper disciplines, and he's now a level 3 FEI course designer as well. Very well respected, of course, and he proudly designs under his home country of Ecuador. Today, in all jumping disciplines and highly sought after to design at many events around the country and the world, we're honored to have him design for us here at the Wellington International and throughout the Winter Equestrian Festival and year while he continues to serve as jump crew leader. He currently commands the crew at the Winter Equestrian Festival with over 50 crew members. Andy, of course, has a very strong work ethic and expects the same of his crew, and he's best known for the calming demeanor in some very difficult circumstances, always finding a way to make things work efficiently. His dedication to crafting challenging and innovative courses for hunters, equitation, and jumper competitors has not only enhanced the Winter Equestrian Festival, but inspired athletes and spectators alike. His passion, coupled with a deep-seated love for the sport, exemplifies the essence of equestrian dedication. As we honor Andy tonight, we're not just celebrating his past success, but also the future he is helping to shape for equestrian sport. Andy, your commitment and passion have left an indelible mark on the community, and I'd like to ask everyone to join us in congratulating Andy Christensen for this well-deserved honor. Your journey inspires us all to strive for excellence in everything we do. Andy Christensen, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, we have one more great course designer we should talk about now. Not just a course designer, but a great in the sport of riding, managing shows, and more. And it's Steve Stevens who we're talking about. Nothing short of a legend in our sport. After a successful show jumping career that spanned 2 decades, Steve went on to achieve great success as a horse show manager, course designer, and proprietor of Stevens Equestrian Designs, one of the world's most respected companies specializing design and manufacturer of jumps for competition. Steve Stevens trained with the U.S. Equestrian Team and competed from 1968 through 1986. He won such major events as the Cleveland Grand Prix, the American Gold Cup Grand Prix of Montreal, and the American Grand Prix Association Championships. Analyzing courses piqued his interest in building jumps and designing courses, and he studied courses under Bert Denemethy and Dr. Arno Gego. Served also as assistant to the Denemethys at the FEI World Cup Finals in Baltimore in 1980, Tampa in 1989, as well as at the 1984 Los Angeles Olympic Games. In 2008, Steve was named course designer, co-course designer at the 2008 Olympics, and he's also been technical delegate at 4 World Cup Finals and won the award as Course Designer of the Year twice. In 2004, he was certified through the Aachen School of Course Design. Steve has served as U.S. chef de keep 5 times. His teams have won the Nations Cup 4 of those times, most notably the Nations Cup World Final in Belgium in 1991. He's also served as manager of some of the nation's biggest and most significant horse shows, including the National Horse Show, the Hampton Classic, and right here at the Winter Equestrian Festival for many years. In 1992, Steve opened Steve's Equestrian Designs, providing jumps to dozens of the nation's most prestigious events, including the Winter Equestrian Festival, Hampton Classic Horse Show, Devon Horse Show, Pennsylvania National, the National, and more. And his unique ability to combine the experience of a top-level rider with the artistic design that can present the specific characteristics of a particular horse show, along with the knowledge of the challenges that a course designer wants to present, have set him apart and made his jump business one of the most successful in the world. In 2013, the USHJA honored Steve with a Lifetime Achievement Award, and Steve has been an integral part of the Winter Equestrian Festival for nearly 5 decades as a rider, horse owner, manager, course designer, and so much more. And of course, he is one of the best-known names in the industry. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Steve Stevens. Of course, Steve joined by his lovely wife, Debbie, who is also one of our top-level competitors and has had her own list of accolades. So let's go ahead and give them a nice send-off as they step away. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we are getting closer and closer to kickoff. Our Meter 50 Classic Series Final will be underway here in just a bit.
That's right, Brian. We're just about 20 minutes away from the top of the order, and equipment is in. If you walkers would please clear the course at this time, and we'll leave you with the sounds of the Samantha Russell Band. National recording artist Samantha Russell has been rocking stages, including Super Bowl Live in Miami and Sunfest, for over a decade. With her wide range and the passion with which she sings, her smooth and pitch-perfect voice is unique on the South of Florida music scene. Ladies and gentlemen, the Samantha Russell Band.
On a Saturday night as we were about to get underway with the culmination of our Meter 50 Classic Series here for 2024, and it is brought to us by Hermès. I'm Brian Lookabill. We have Danny Walden with us as well, and we'll be taking you through the rounds here this evening. Before we get to that, we would like to thank Hermès for their support. Since the company was founded in 1837, Hermès remains dedicated to making high-quality, handcrafted equestrian products for the horse, rider, and barn. Their workshops maintain a tradition of saddle making passed down from generation to generation of skilled artisans. With a strong commitment to innovation, Hermès integrates new materials and technology to develop high-performance technical apparel and equipment to meet the needs of riders at the highest levels of equestrian sport. Hermès is proud to expand their support of the Winter Equestrian Festival with their sponsorship of the Hermès Meter 50 Championship Jumper Series and presence in the International Warm-Up Ring and Riders Lounge. And the professional staff are pleased to offer the highest level of specialized customer service to ensure your comfort and safety this season. The 2024 Hermès Meter 50 Championship Jumper Series winner will take home a $10,000 store credit to Hermès. And of course, that's on top of the prize money going out here this evening. Dodd Technologies is also a great sponsor, presenting our live stream, and an industry leader in creative design and technology support services for sports, entertainment, corporate, and special events. And you can visit them online at doddtechnologies.com. And USEF is also presenting us our live stream this evening, presented in part with the support of the U.S. Equestrian Federation and the USEF Network. So again, we welcome you here as we are overlooking the International Arena, and that is a signature look here in Wellington, Florida, home of the Winter Equestrian Festival, what some people would say is the absolute capital of the equestrian world. And we are going to be kicking things off, which again, the Meter 50 Classic, and this evening we'll have a grand total of 44 that will show. Original list of 46 is out, but we do have a couple of scratches in the first and the 18th position of the order. But we'll be taking you through each and every ride, introducing you to our riders, telling you a little bit about their performances throughout the season. But this is the culmination of an entire 11-week series, earning points, as you can see, located on the right side of the leaderboard there. Aaron Ballard came into the week here as the front runner with a 262-point total. As you can see, McLean Ward, Shane Sweetenham, Natalie Dean, Kian O'Connor, Emily Cantor, Laura Kraut, Richard Vogel, Jad Dana, and Niall Nasser rounding out the top 10. Several of these riders competing with us throughout the tour to get there and trying to get to the top of the list where they would earn that $10,000 bonus if they have the most points at the end of the series. But there's also that $150,000 in prize money on offer here this evening. And we're looking forward to seeing the first one coming up here in just a few. Now, again, I'm Brian Lookabill. We have Danny Walden with us, and we would love to tell you about the course that's been designed by Andy Christensen. Andy, of course, receiving an award just before the start of our competition here this evening. He has gone through quite the list of shows and experience to get to being an international course designer, and he is our course designer for the evening. Would like to thank Fidelity Investments, of course, for their support as well as we get into our competition here this evening. Again, Fidelity Investments, one of the many who provide us with support for the 2024 Winter Equestrian Festival. Now, as we get to it here, we're going to take a look at the overview of the route. As you can see, starting up over in Oxer on the outside there, Danny, that's the Mars Equestrian Oxer to start things off, and maybe continue on if you would.
Absolutely. It's a left-hand turn to the vertical near the gate, then a right-hand turn, roll back to the avocado green rails right here past the in-gate, and then it's another right-hand turn to the triple bar at number 4, straight ahead line all the way across the diagonal. Going to be 6 strides up to this Oxer, vertical 1 stride, red, a little bit narrow poles, and then 4 strides to the white plank right into the corner of the ring, and then a left-handed rollback. Give people a little bit of time to reorganize. They'll have to think about that time aloud. Roll back to what is quite a wide Oxer, not necessarily so big, but very wide there. Right-hand bend, 7, maybe 8 strides, and then a very patient 4 to this Liverpool, 5 strides to this Liverpool Oxer at the Hermès. Very difficult front pole to jump, and then another right-hand rollback to the candy cane striped Oxer, and a left-handed bend across the middle of the ring to the triple. It's going to be vertical, 1 stride, vertical. Oxer coming out to that triple, and then right-hand turn, 1 final line along the top end of the ring. Vertical offset Liverpool, and 6 strides down to the last at the Lugano Diamonds Oxer. That's what that first round is going to look like. It's not giant out there, but definitely a lot of questions asked. And, of course, a lot of younger horses coming out in tonight's class. So it will be very fun to see as these horses develop, and some of them jumping under the lights for the very first time.
These Meter 50 Classic Series events have been taking place, as I mentioned, all season long. This is a feature event tonight, though, in the first of 2 remaining Meter 50 events for the season. You can see there on the screen, 76 seconds is our time allowed. The entire length from start line to finish line is 475 meters. 13 numbered obstacles encompassing 16 total efforts, including those combinations where there are either 2 at the double or 3 at the triple combination. And, Danny, what do you expect to be the trouble spots on the course here this evening? Anything in particular?
Yeah, I think, 1, the vertical by the in-gate with those avocado green rails we've seen all season long. The horses don't jump that very well, and it's kind of a single plane vertical. We'll see how they handle it. And then, of course, the line across the middle. I think 5A and B is going to cause a bit of trouble, especially with the plank coming after it. That whole line, I think, is very tricky. Right into the sort of low scoreboard along the edge. Changes with the highlights, as you can see on the screen there. There's always changing going on, and I think that the 5A and B, the poles are a lot narrower than 4 and the plank after it. Creates a bit of an optical illusion for the horses, and it's all simple red poles. There's not much for the horse to look at, and otherwise they get a little bit confused with all the poles in there. So I think that's difficult. The short 5 to the Liverpool Oxer at the Hermès, I think the front pole of that Oxer is going to be a bit difficult. They never seem to jump that well, and it looks, even when you were standing on the ground, the way that it was set, it almost looked like that front pole was slightly higher. It's not, of course, but it does give that appearance, and it makes it easy for the horses to have that front pole down. The candy cane Oxer, always also difficult for the horses to see. It almost looks like the poles are moving. Triple, I think, looks nice. It's not giant. Vertical will stall them a little bit, so we'll see how they struggle a little bit maybe to get out at C, and then that final delicate Liverpool vertical to the last line. And, of course, the Lugano Diamonds Oxer. You know, those light pale blue colored rails have been causing trouble all season long, especially here under the lights. And we'll see how they handle that. It's a very delicate last line. So a couple of places throughout the course, but I think we're going to see some great jumping tonight.
Yeah, you would expect that because we certainly, as always, have some of the top-level competitors joining us, and we do have a scratch in the top position of the order. So if you have seen one of the original orders of Go, just make note. We're going to be starting off here very shortly with Carlos Hank Guerrero for Mexico being our first up in the order, and he'll be here aboard H5 Chaco San. And this is kind of incredible that we're this close to the end of the series, Danny. We've had 12 or 11 weeks of competition. I should say 12 because there is that WEF Premier Week that's gotten us here, and every single week they've been working toward this until they get to the end of the line here and hope to get the biggest share of the $150,000 in prize money. Thanks again to Hermès for their support. And, of course, they've also got that little extra bonus there brought to us by Hermès with a $10,000 certificate for those incredible high-quality Hermès products as well.
Great prize.
Yeah, indeed. All right, we're coming up on the start here, as is our custom. Of course, we'll have our national anthem kicking things off for the evening, so we'll allow you to enjoy the tribute to our United States of America before we start.
And remove cover for the singing of the national anthem, tonight performed by Francesca Moore.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
As a big fan of music, I always appreciate a great national anthem. Not the great or not the easiest song to sing, but when it's done right, it can just be chilling. And our performer here tonight did a great job of that. We're going to start things off with a rider for Mexico by the name of Carlos Hancarero, H5 Sport Horses entry. H5 Chaco San will be the mount here this evening. We do have a rider who's been a part of 3 Young Rider Championships in North America, all the way up through 2018. In all of those occurrences, being a part of team medals, 1 gold, 1 silver, 1 bronze. He's also been an individual silver medalist back in 2016, but now he's out of the Young Rider ranks and competing, of course, with the big folks here in the international field and showing a couple wins already this season. 1 early season, in fact, at the end of last year out in Thermal, California, and 1 here at the Winter Equestrian Festival. Those are the wins. Many other top placings in the top 12 of our feature events of the international field. And Carlos is going to show the way here. It's always a little tricky coming out of the gate being the first one because you have nobody to watch, and it's all up to you and what the plan is that you made, whether or not that plan was correct. We're about to find out.
Well, statistically, actually, your chances of going clear are higher if you go first. So let's see what he does. All right, jumps the Mars. Left-handed turn here to number 2. Some people said 8, some said 9. He did the patient 1. Little bit, just kind of horse jumped right at it there. Jumps over the avocado rails, and then right-hand turn here to the triple bar. Let's see what he does. Looks like he maybe did the patient 7 into that double. That 4 works out easy. Left-handed turn now. Do the IDA development. 4, 5, 6, 7. Does the 7. Very steady up in the 5 there. Gets over that easily. And now right-hand turn directly away from the gate. These candy cane stripe poles. Little stretch. Does the 9. Jumps through that. Just looked like he lost a little bit of power coming out of the triple. I did think C would be an issue. Moves up a little bit in the 6 to the last. Gets over that last. But
ends up with 2 rails down, one of them early, one of them late, and that means a total of 8. Number 2 and C of the triple combination, the penalty fences here for Carlos Hancarero. And again, H5 Chaco San, the 13-year-old Hanoverian gelding by Chaco Blue. So they will exit on a score of 8. 73.61, though, is comfortably inside the 76-second time allowed. So as of now, anyway, at least for our first in the order, it doesn't seem like the time allowed is going to be an issue. We'll move on then to a rider for Belgium by the name of Emily Cantor, 24 years old, here aboard Balento CS, a 13-year-old gray Oldenburg stallion by Balou du Rouet. Rider who's been to 5 European Championships since her children's debut back in 2014, has been a team silver, team gold medalist, has had an individual bronze in her most recent outing back in 2021 as well. And again, it's Emily with Balento CS.
so she does 8 from 1 to 2. I know she had talked about that. She has a very big strided horse, so that worked out easily for her. She's also really high up in our overall standings, so her result tonight could make a difference for those overall. 4, 5, 6. She got there nice where she was steadying, jumped through that well. 4 works out beautifully for her. Here's the place where they can make up a little bit of time. Inside there, Carlos's tracks. You can see it in the ground. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Just stays on it for the 7. Steadies up for the 5. Gets a beautiful jump there. Horse really took his time, jumped away from that front pole. Keeps him straight to this. And then again, the front pole of that coming down. The horse is just, it makes those candy cane stripes make it look a little bit like the poles are moving. Hard for the horse to see the top of it.
Yeah, I have to say, when I was out there walking, I almost got a little hypnotized by the candy cane oxer.
Exactly. Honestly, beautiful round, though, from her.
Indeed. 1 rail, total of 4 faults. Another one showing inside the time, 74.84. And I noticed that you mentioned the potential to save a little time early in the course there around a few of the turns. In this case, I'm not so sure it's going to be a concern of theirs. We saw earlier on in the 2-star Grand Prix, there were some riders having a little bit of an issue with the time allowed. A few that would make it around without jumping penalty but got over. In this case, I'm not sure it's going to be an issue, but we'll find out. We haven't had a clear yet. Maybe taking a little bit more time to get that clear will make the difference and make them get to that finish line a little bit later. Vanessa Maddox will be our first rider for Canada in the field here this evening. She joins us here with the 13-year-old babe Belgian gelding by Verdi Tien. This is Le Har. She was this year's West Coast, or has been riding on the West Coast, I should say, in Thermal since December. The Thermal circuit just finishing up last week, and she and her trainer have made it all the way across the country here to take part in the last couple of weeks of the Winter Equestrian Festival. She's had a lot of success out there in California. Let's see if she keeps it up here in our Meter 50 events. And as I say that, she unfortunately does pull the rail at number 3. The avocado vertical that you said earlier would probably be a trouble spot.
Yeah, I think that's a hard jump for the horses to jump. Again, the color is hard for them to see. The placement of it right by the in-gate, easy for them to get distracted. It's jumping beautifully, this horse, and I think I've seen Vanessa just the last week here ride, and I think she's riding really, really well. Her other horse jumped beautifully clear yesterday, but unfortunately, that is a difficult jump at number 3. Steadies up nice here for the Hermès Oxer. Like you said, I think time not such a big factor necessarily tonight. It seems like Andy Christensen's been a little bit generous with it. But like we said, a lot of younger horses out here tonight. And just trying to get experience, doesn't want to have them run around the course and worry about that too much. She does have B and C of the triple. It comes, B and C of the triple, the whole triple comes very late tonight in the course. So stamina playing a little bit of a role. Black poles, they don't see it so well. So certainly I think going to cause trouble, especially the vertical in. It makes that oxer a little bit more of a push to come out, and we've seen it come down already a couple of times.
You see Connor there at the gate there in the kiss and cry area with the rest of the crew, watching as Vanessa wraps up. She will do so on a score of 12. And that'll bring us now into our 4th position of the order. And the first of our U.S. riders coming in. 20-year-old Elena Haas coming to us aboard Kos van Eist. 14-year-old gray Belgian gelding by Bremersen Adorado. She's owned this one since July of 2022, so just a couple of years together. Elena's been a 3-time consecutive starter over the last 3 seasons at the North American Youth Championships. Several times in Challenge Cup, Meter 40 and up ribbons, also in the Grand Prix here at the 3-star level this season in Wellington. She's been a very busy competitor in the international field, and again, the first of our American riders to compete.
She's working with Andrew Wells. She's been riding really, really great all season. And this horse, incredible scope. It was formerly seen under Katie Laurie of Australia. And we were just talking about Connor Swale working with Vanessa Maddox. He also rode this horse at one point. But really, really scopy. She's doing a great job kind of just letting the horse, this kind of horse that just needs a little bit of time to jump the jumps, especially the front pole. She's doing a good job with her upper body to just give that space and not hurry the jump. She kind of holds her shoulders back, gives the horse an extra fraction of a second just to pull those front legs up. Looking really solid so far. Jumps through the triple, a little bit of a push out, no trouble at all. That was beautifully done. Just 2 left to go. Gets over the delicate Liverpool. 1 left. She looks okay on the time. And that'll be our first clear.
The home team pulls one out here, the first of our penalty-free rides of the evening, giving us great hope of a second round. And if we do get into that second round, we're going to have a treat in that jump off that we also had a chance to look at earlier on. But right now, another look as she gets through the double combination.
She jumped beautiful. Like I said, she's been riding great all season. This was a great way for her to kind of culminate the season and finish up on a beautiful, solid round. She looked very, very professional out there.
And very happy with the result, as you would expect after the first penalty-free of the evening. Next of our riders has had a couple of runner-up placings in meter 50 action so far this season. Some of them here in Wellington, some of them up north in Ocala. And we're going to welcome into the ring next. This will be Eduardo Pereira de Menezes. And he'll be here aboard Nagano de Palma, our rider for Brazil. Has been a World Cup finalist, team silver medalist in the Nations Cup finals, 2015 and 2019 Pan Am starts. In 2019, they were actually part of the team gold medal. He's also been a Rio Olympic rider for Brazil. And his mount is an 11-year-old chestnut Belgian gelding by Cadeau de Muse.
I've watched this horse go a bit in recent weeks. Similar to his father, Cadeau de Muse, like you said. If you watch the father, the gallop is kind of similar. This is a little bit even bloodier and lighter type. And he's 11 years old now, so he should just be coming into his sort of peak age. You can see Eduardo there just making an adjustment, making sure to give enough room at the front pole of the oxer. Puts almost a little bit of a bend in the 5. I think that's a smart way to ride it. He knew he was worried about getting up there early in that 5, which is why he put the bend in. Unfortunately, wasn't able to quite get the space that he would have liked. He gave it a good effort, but just not able to get over that. Horse really pats the ground there through the triple. That was a very athletic move. And here, looking good coming down to the last. There is a little bit more space in that final 6. Helped him out.
And they'll get to the finish line there, carrying just the 4 faults as we see it. And the finish time, 73.24. So yet again, no problem on the clock. And their time will be 73 and change. As we sort of expected and talked about earlier on, this course not going to be a problem as far as start and finish lines are concerned and the time between those. And now will be another of our U.S. riders, already with Elena Haas clear over the course aboard Kos Van Eist. We welcome Molly Ashcali into the arena. Lots of international experience for this veteran of the show ring. Twice a World Cup finals. She's aboard a horse that was acquired back in 2018 by Lewisburg Farm. Berdien, a 13-year-old Bay Zangersattemer by Bustique, and a winning rider aboard this entry just last month, just about a month ago, in fact, in Ocala, and that's among several other top 3 placings. Also here in Wellington, they've been runners-up a couple times in the Challenge Cup events and other Grand Prix this season. Molly, just a couple of nights ago, actually had the pleasure of watching her daughter Taylor take top honors in the Winter Equestrian Festival Equitation Championship. So she's passing it down the line here to another great rider in all of her experience.
Absolutely. I've seen this horse in recent years jump really, really well for Molly. I haven't seen it too much this season here in Wellington, certainly not up at the highest level. She does have the back pole there. She ended up doing 7 into the double across the middle, landed a bit shallow off that triple bar. But just having the back pole of the Hermès oxer. Horse is a beautiful jumper. Little bit of leg here. You can see it just reach out and just not have enough push to get across the back pole. And Molly's such a super rider. Gets over the last, but will have to settle with those few down, unfortunately.
So she'll finish up then on 8 times 74.42, and that'll leave us with, again, just 1 so far, penalty-free. Here's another look at the orange and white vertical on the way down to that Liverpool oxer that Danny's mentioned earlier on was going to potentially be a problem. In this case, it will be. Pulling the back rail
Now, you know, mostly at that, you'll see front poles at that Liverpool Oxer. This horse jumped really high and well above and away from the front pole, but just jumped up too high, landed a little bit shallow as the back pole.
Yeah, at times you'll see them stand off of the Oxer and take the front rail. At other times, they'll look down at that Liverpool and maybe get a little bit more excited, let's say, and make them jump up, maybe not across an Oxer such as that. Coming to us next now, and in fact underway, a rider who's had a number of wins already this season, meter 45 and meter 50 classic victories for Jad Dana. Jad comes to us here as a 29-year-old. He's aboard 14-year-old based Swedish warm blood mare by Diorado. This is after 8, who he's had over the past 2 seasons since October of 2021.
And he's also high up on our overall leaderboard. So I think he's got a good chance possibly to take it. This is a horse that he won. Ooh, it was a little bit long there. You could see he landed out of that double, and he immediately tried to move up, but the horse just a little bit backed off, and I think he was just too far away. And the horse got a little bit insecure about it.
That's also a location you talked about earlier on. They're going into that corner.
Yeah.
When the competition is underway, the LED boards around the outside aren't necessarily changing while the horses are going, but there is a little something there to look at, especially when you got a very narrow plank. You might actually just be seeing right past that, or the horses may be seeing right past that into those LED boards and maybe not focusing as much on the plank itself.
Yeah, exactly. And the horse just looks a little bit backed off under the lights here tonight. And it's not quite going to be Jad's night, but that is a horse that he's done tremendously well on. You can see a little bit of frustration on the groom's face there, just saying, not working out for us tonight.
Yeah, it's a shame to see that after, again, such a good performance. He's had a lot of rankings in the meter 50 events so far this year. A rider for Lebanon making his way out, and unfortunately will have no score after the double refusals there. That'll bring us to another rider for the USA by the name of Bliss Hears, who will pilot Quality Star Z. This is an 11-year-old gray Zangerside of gelding by Quality Time. Just acquired this one in December after some successful starts with Jerome Gary of Belgium. She has, of course, been with us here in Wellington as well as up north in Ocala, showing to many top 6 and top 12 placings through feature events all the way through the winter's season. Bliss Hears our rider. Quality Star Z is the mount.
Of course, a lot of people know Bliss from her wonderful Stallion Antidote, but she's sitting here on Quality Star today. Like you said, newer partnership. This is a great opportunity. This class is one of those things that's a wonderful opportunity for new partnerships to kind of develop. Just looking like maybe the horse is playing a little bit, not quite focused. I think that's why number 2 comes down. You can see he's kind of bucking a little bit and just a little bit distracted. Makes it hard to sort of place them exactly how you want. But again, a newer partnership, something that will absolutely smooth out and develop with time. Jumps through that double beautifully. She could just sit up and be patient. This is a horse with a bigger stride, covering the ground really well. She's going a little bit wider here on her tracks than some of the other riders have done. She gives nice space there. Tries to put a little bit of a bend in here as well. Gets a great jump at the Hermès Oxer. Again, you just don't want to be close to that. Slices across this a little bit. She'll have to stay nice and patient in the 8 into the double. Or into the triple. And then just cuts down a little bit out at C. Same thing I thought was going to happen when I walked it. And I thought, all right, when you see a triple, vertical, Oxer, you know the verticals are going to stall them. And then it just means you need a little bit extra push. And the horse just cut down a little bit as she came out of that triple. Otherwise, very solid round.
Yeah, tightening up that stride over the verticals a little bit, needing to open them back up. And there's not a lot of time to make that adjustment when you're on the way through a triple combination, especially when it's a 1 to a 1, as is the case there at 11A, B, and C.
Yeah, you lose a lot of momentum.
And she ends up with 8 faults. Here's another look at the first of the rails.
Just shifted a little bit there on to the left as she took off. Horse playing a little bit.
Yeah, and looking like he wasn't too happy with that himself. Quality Star's saying, I didn't mean to do that, Mom. Can we take it back?
I didn't like it.
All right, next to go now, Brianne Goutot-Marteau. She was with us in the WEF Weekly Performance live broadcast here as our sports desk was open on Wednesday afternoon because she had a lot of experience back during her equitation days. As many would know, she was the feature of a big television broadcast when the world was able to see what goes into equitation. But it's been a long time since that, after she won all 4 of the finals, and she has gone on to great success, twice showing at the World Cup finals. She has been part of a Nations Cup rides on behalf of the United States, wins second place and third place honors for Brianna, and she's also been a winner this season in meter 50 action with Bianca, the 10-year-old Grey Zangersat mare by Red Star M, an October 2022 acquisition, and unfortunately she will have a rail there through the 5A-B combination as I wrap up her introduction, so already working on 4 faults.
Yeah, you know, she jumped the triple bar. Horse landed a little bit shallow, which is typical of triple bars. And then she was moving up in the 6, and you could tell she was thinking about moving up. This horse not necessarily maybe covering the ground like some of the other horses. And she just looked a little bit far off 5A when she took off. And then here, the front pole of those optical illusion rails. And it's looking like maybe she's thinking to call it a day. Yep, she does raise her hand, and she will save the mare Bianca for another night.
Indeed, and that is a sign of great horseman or horsewomanship, as she, as I mentioned earlier, was a big equitation rider. It's not all about just the riding. It's also about taking care of your horses, and she has been known to be a great horsewoman herself. She has chosen on a night like tonight when she doesn't necessarily have a chance of getting into the big ribbons. Why would you waste it? Let's save this horse for another time. In fact, we are early in the season here, so there are a lot of big opportunities later on, and as we've seen from her and some big wins around the world previously, we're bound to see more in 2024.
Yeah.
Rider coming up next here for Ireland, we have Andrew Borns. He'll ride Menko van de Wellington, a 12-year-old Belgian gelding by Echo van het Spieveld. He's had this one now for quite a while, 5 years since the August 2019 debut together. Last season, a top 5 finisher in speed and winning round classes at San Juan Capistrano and Thunderbird in the ribbons. Early season here in Wellington in the meter 50 classics, and Andrew Borns has also been a reliable rider with wins on Nations Cup teams for Ireland.
And this horse jumped a 4-star in Ocala a couple weeks ago and put in a really solid performance there. So I know he was thinking that, you know, this is a meter 50 classic tonight. It's sort of the equivalent to a 3-star Grand Prix if you wanted to kind of think of it that way. Specs are pretty similar to what a 3-star would be, but he thought the horse was absolutely ready for this. And again, you can see him really move up there to make sure he gets up to the base of the red double. And then that 4 works out well for him. It was a little bit shifty early on, but he's looking like he's keeping it together now.
Doesn't seem to be too rushed, and he may have learned from the first few to say, I don't necessarily need to be. I've got some time.
And he does one more, actually, in that line to maybe help set up the 5 stride. When you do the direct 7, it makes the 5 a little bit longer. And then, unfortunately, the front pole of those candy cane striped.
Mesmerized.
Yeah, horses just don't see them, and they're away from the gate, under the lights here. It's not an easy jump to jump. And honestly, we haven't seen it that much this season, you know, and when you do see it, the horses all seem to struggle with it. Something maybe people should take home and practice.
It's interesting how jump sales go up after they discover a brand new fence like that maybe gives them some trouble. Steve Stevens may have some more business on his hands producing some candy striped rails like that, or as I'm going to call them, the hypnotize rails.
Yeah, there, let's see it again. Yeah, it just looked like he was a little bit on the angle as well and has that front pole on the way up. And here you can see him move up in that 6 stride. That he did really well through this double. Actually, the red double not causing as much trouble as I initially thought it would, but certainly causing troubles all over the other places on the course.
USA rider trying to match the only other clear on the course here so far tonight. That one, of course, was Elena Haas and Cos van Eist. She's sitting alone at the top of the list with the only clear currently. But we'll move along to our next in the order, Nicolette Hertz for the USA. Here aboard 15-year-old bay Celle Francais mare by Verdi. This is Fleurette. She took over this ride from Laura Kraut back in 2021. She's had 4 international ribbons this season, including a win in a Thursday meter 40 class last month here in Wellington.
This was a great horse for Laura, and I think it's been a really good partnership for Nikki as well. It's a beautiful jumper. Just cuts down a little bit. I was just saying how the red double wasn't causing too much trouble, and now we see it come down. So back pole there coming on in. And here she makes a little bit of an adjustment. Big scopy horse, no trouble. Steadies up to this, thinking about the steady 5 after. This horse has sort of a very bountiful canter and has that front pole of the Liverpool Hermès Oxer. Again, another place where I really thought we'd see quite a lot of faults, and we are seeing them. Jumps A, B, little bit tuck on the hind end there across C, but the horse made a super effort not to touch that at all. Great expression here on the horse's face. Gets through the last, but will end up with those couple down.
We've got the luxury of being able to see both the 12-13 line from the front side and the back side. If we look at the monitors there right now, take a look.
Yeah, just has that on the way up. Horse maybe just takes a look at the Liverpool, doesn't focus on the top pole. You know, especially Liverpool's under the lights. You really you see a lot more troublesome spots there. There's a lot of reflection and a lot of glare, and it gives the horse just something extra to take their eye off the top of the pole.
And that'll bring us now into the next position of the order, being our 13th on the original list, Abigail McArdle. Abigail McArdle, among the most stylish young riders during her young rider days. She had medals in both of her North American Youth Championship starts, 2010 Team Silver, 2012 Team Silver, and individual gold. And, of course, those events are a great way to identify up-and-coming talent that could eventually become a part of our U.S. team. She has gone on to be a big winner in many international events. She's actually had a welcome and Grand Prix win just last week at Live Oak with another of her horses, I&H Boogie Woogie. But tonight, it's Olympia van het Eikenhoek. This is the 10-year-old bay Belgian mare by Elvis Terpute, who she's been riding since mid-2022, and it was already a Challenge Cup winner week 2 of the series here.
Yeah, that was a great Challenge Cup win, actually. She tied it with Amanda Derbyshire, and they had the exact same time out on the field. It was quite an impressive feat. We don't see that so often.
Not often that you see that. We've only seen it a couple times, at least in my career, but it's interesting when it happens.
Yeah. Very scopy jumper, this horse. Big gallop. And Abigail does such a good job to just kind of keep it simple. A little bit of leg here. You can see the horse kind of double pump a little bit just to make sure he gets across the back. Shifting a little bit to the left. A little bit of a push out. Actually jumped through that easily. Shakes his head a tiny bit. Not a problem. One left to go. Think she's okay on the time.
Oh, just there. 75.56. I was going to say that might be the first one that has a problem with the clock, but you talked about the fact, and I know you use different terminology, but she was a little bit patient there. She didn't seem rushed, and it does show up on the clock,
Yeah,
but
she was on the edge.
Not enough to give her a problem, and we will now have 2 clears tied for first, and it will be a jump-off night under the lights for the meter 50 Classic Final, again brought to us by Hermès. Thanks again to our sponsor of the Meter 50 Championship Series. And remember, they've got $150,000 at stake here, as well as the $10,000 prize from Hermès. Next to go, rider for Brazil is Gabriel de Matos Machado, who's had 2 wins among 4 top 3 placings at the Winter Equestrian Festival with another of his mounts, Legoland Sandro. But this is Donner, 14-year-old bay Belgian gelding by Thunder van de Zuidhof. Late 2023 pairing for Gabriel. They've had a few wins prior to that with Peter Leon, but this season Donner, under Gabriel's handling, has been 10th and 4th in 4- and 5-star competition last month here at the Winter Equestrian Festival.
This is another former ride of Laura Kraut. So we've seen a couple horses already ridden by Laura Kraut in the past.
In fact, 2 big-name riders for the U.S., Laura Kraut and Peter Leon.
Yeah. It's actually a beautifully bred horse as well. Thunder van de Zuidhof with the Heartbreaker. It's a good combination in breeding. So not surprising that this is a really nice horse. And Gabriel's been doing really well, like you said, with a number of his different horses. Just steadies up a little bit here. Gets a good jump, steadies up for the 5, then comes forward again. And I think a little bit there, horse a little bit hid in the bridle, and he steadied, and then he ended up having to add leg again, and he was still kind of pushing. And there he just gets to those mesmerizing poles a little bit early and a little bit on that angle. That's why we keep seeing it. The way the rollback is, the horses are on a slight right to left angle there. Takes the big one here at the Liverpool. And then gets over the last, but unfortunate with those couple down 2 in a row.
I love to be able to get a look at the trainers, grooms, family, and friends as they observe from the kiss and cry area overlooking the arena just by the in gate. You get to see that emotional reaction.
And there you can see he steadied in the line, and then he had to add leg and move up again for the last stride and a half or so. And just had a lot of momentum. Kind of the horse just jumped a little bit into that front pole and not up and around it and away from it.
Catherine Passmore is now in, hoping to be the third lady and the third rider for the U.S. to get into a clear effort tonight. Catherine piloting 13-year-old bay Belgian sport horse gelding by Ogano Seat. This is Freedom de SB. Catherine's had 5 top 10 placings from the 2 to 4-star level so far this season. She's another rider who was a part of the North American Youth Championships, had double silver in 2010 among her 2 starts at those games, and has been a Nations Cup bronze medalist at Porto Alegre, Falsterborough, and has been on teams in Gijón and Bratislava as well in Europe. Grand Prix wins around the world for this rider, Catherine Passmore, and unfortunately here tonight, she's going to have an early rail there at the first racing vertical number 2.
Now, you know, that first racing vertical, it's sort of a simple jump, but it's 3 or 4 different color poles. And I think the horse is another kind of optical illusion. The horses just don't really know what to look at. And when they're all kind of the same pole, they can measure it a little bit better. But it's a very different color, and it's kind of a brightish teal on the top. And they're just not jumping that well. And I know she was saying she tried a different bridle today. She actually put a hackamore on, so there's no bit in the horse's mouth. And it's different than anything that she had tried recently. Actually, the horse stared a little bit at that Liverpool. It helped her, kind of held him off it a bit there. And I know she's been just working on the rideability with this horse. Certainly very capable jumper. Jumps through the triple really well. And I like this, you know, I like the connection point I see. I've watched her now a lot of different times with a number of different bridles. And I think this is actually the nicest I've seen. The horse looks the most comfortable. And maybe he just didn't want a bit in his mouth.
Made the right choice in tack. And appears to be a horse that really is a trier, too. Not really that concerned as they make their way around there. But tonight, unfortunately, of course, they do have
just number 2 down.
The one knockdown early on there. And here's another look at that.
Looked like she was just still trying to make the adjustment. Again, first class, she's jumped in the hackamore, and maybe she just didn't quite know the connection point early on, and then it kind of settled into it, because I actually think he jumped one of the best rounds I've seen him jump all season long.
Brings us now to Andrew Wells of the U.S., based here in Wellington, a 36-year-old professional rider who's been top 3 finisher at the Hampton Classic and Miami Global Champions Tour events, Tryon, and the Winter Equestrian Festival as well. Spruce Meadows. Andrew's had some big placings at those events, but here he is today in our meter 50 competition with the 11-year-old bay Royal Dutch Warm Blood gelding by Action Breaker. This is Idle H&H. 4-star Grand Prix ribbon winner at Ocala last week, along with a few 3-star Grand Prix and 4-star Grand Prix qualifiers here in Wellington this season.
Well, and his student's already gone clear. Let's see if he can do it as well. He clearly told her the right plan. Now it's all down to execution. Lands a little bit on the balance, a little bit low there on the backside of that. Curls around those jumps. Sits up early, ends up having to come forward a little bit there. A little bit close with the hind end. Stays a little bit wide on the track here. And that was a late fault. He just rolled it forward there. You know, not a major error or something. Horse just touched it and just kind of rolled it out of the cups. Similarly there, the front pole of that Hermès Oxer. Like I thought, that was going to cause a lot of trouble tonight.
I was going to say, though, that Hermès Oxer very lightly touched to pull the rail for Andrew. He also makes the horseman decision to pull up before fence number 10 as he realizes we're not necessarily going to be in the ribbons tonight, so let's just go ahead and save our jumps for another day.
He's going to go back and focus on his student for her jump-off round.
He'll have time to do that now, and of course that student being the earlier Elena Haas with Kos van Heist, who was joined about 5 or 6 rounds later by Abigail McCardle and Olympia van het Eikenhoff in the clear list. Just those 2 right now are penalty-free. But I would imagine we've got a good chance of seeing another one under Paul O'Shea, who is coming through the gate just below that Wellington International arch right now. Paul for Ireland comes to us aboard 13-year-old bay Oldenburg gelding by Diorado. This is Squirt Gun. He took over this ride mid-2020 after being a Grand Prix winner and Nations Cup mount under his previous rider. Squirt Gun's been a winning round Grand Prix and Major League team winner over the last couple of seasons in Calhoun, Ontario, Monterey, Mexico, Thermal in California, as well as Thunderbirds. They have been well-traveled, well-experienced, and well-placed in their starts over last season. And this year they've also had a welcome win early on in January over in Sarasota. They will be another pair that is victim of number 2, that first racing vertical.
You know, they're actually jumping the avocado jump rails better than I thought, but they're jumping number 2 very poorly. They're jumping it just extremely low. They're not even really seeing where that top pole is. And
the top pole on that one is almost akin to the avocado color. It's the lightest color of all of them, so maybe their focus is shifting down to the darker colored rails that have a bit more contrast against the light colored footing backdrop.
Exactly. Those pastel colors the horses really struggle to see. And yeah, we've seen it all season long. And I really love this horse. I've always loved this horse. I think it's a tremendous athlete. And Paul's had great results on him. Just an unfortunate at number 2, but he's actually jumping the rest of this really well. So much blood, so much athleticism in this horse. You can see him really move up for the 6 here and then gets a beautiful jump at the last.
He will score just that early knockdown at number 2 for a 4-fault penalty and a time of 70.66. He'll at least be a quick 4-faulter, which will put him into 3rd place just behind the clears right now. And we'd certainly have loved to see him in the jump off. Not tonight, but of course he's not going home empty-handed because Paul has had a number of wins already this season with Hellcat and Mount Emerald at Van Voorhof. So he's definitely done quite well this season. Here he has Squirt Gun exiting on a 4-fault penalty and has a good chance of still staying in those ribbons as he's 3rd currently. Heather Caristo Williams is up next. She comes to us here aboard Celtic Hero BZ, winner earlier this season in Meter 40 action here in Wellington. Celtic Hero is a 12-year-old bay Zanguside stallion by Calicut Hero, and together with Heather back since 2018. So they have established themselves quite nicely over the course of the past 6 seasons.
Beautiful jump there at the triple bar. You can see her really move up. She did a good job. She moved up, but she kept her shoulders back. So she didn't kind of move up and throw the horse's balance down. She moved up seat and leg, and then she kept the shoulders back to keep the balance up. That was very well done from Heather. And I saw in years past she was a little bit fussy with the mouth, but it looks like she's gotten the rideability way better. And she's just keeping that gallop active. Ooh.
I was just going to compliment how much of a trier Celtic Hero was as they got up and over a big jumping effort there at the Hermès Liverpool Oxer. But after that big jumping effort, they came around, and I think the candy cane or candy stripe rails, as you said earlier on, or what I like to call the mesmerizing rails, did just that. Took them a little bit out of their element, and
looking like she's going to take a courtesy fence. You know, she was using a lot of leg, really trying to encourage the horse to come forward. Just looked like he was a little bit backed off here under the lights tonight, and was just a little bit not something that he wanted to jump today. But he was putting in some very big efforts.
I am excited to see our next rider show because over the last couple of years, she has been incredibly dynamic. Native to Maryland, Kathleen Driscoll, Made her Nations Cup debut just a couple of years back in 2022 in Villa Mora, was part of a silver medal team there. But as an individual, she's been doing great a couple mounts. This one is Flotilla, among several finding their stride with Kathleen since she started on this one since 2021. She's had 16 wins in international competition over the past couple of years, a few coming here in meter 50 and two-star Grand Prix action, as well as late December last season in Major League action out in Thermal. Flotilla is a 13-year-old bay Polish sport horse mare by Alvaro 121.
That's an impressive track record. 16 international wins on the same horse. You don't hear that so often. And Kathleen, I watched her win the meter 50 speed a couple of weeks ago here on this horse, and she was lightning fast that day. Back pole of that double coming down. Again, the 6 riding up a little bit. Remember, triple bar, they land shallow. 6 walk sort of normal, but with the triple bar, it makes them land shallow. It makes that 6 ride a little bit longer than you think it walks. And they're all just kind of moving up there and then getting there. Not on the best balance. They're taking off and just not able to get across that back pole. They're losing a little bit of push as the balance is kind of on the forehand as they've moved up in the line. And then he sits up here, gets right to the base, and a big stretch out there. You could tell she really helped the horse out there. It was a bit of a rub at the back pole. Luckily, that one stayed up.
She definitely got lucky there on the backside of the triple combination, and that's early rail is the only one she'll have here this evening.
That'll be frustrating for her because the horse was jumping well, and if she had gone into our jump off, we know that she is capable of winning, and she would have been a very speedy one.
Yeah, her record tells the tale there with those 16 victories in international events.
Yeah, you can see just took off, and the horse just misjudged a little bit where the back end was, and just didn't reach across it enough. Jumps good in front, but then just not enough behind.
This is Todd Minikis, another of our big U.S. veterans in the show jumping world. He was a Pan Am team bronze medalist back in 2007 in Rio. He's been to 9 World Cup finals, most recently in 2017 with Babalu 41, who went twice for Todd. And Kikabo Spirit is the mount tonight, 9-year-old gray Belgian, or excuse me, Royal Dutch Warmblood gelding, that is, by Darius, and got together with this one about mid-2023. They made your international debut together in Tryon to a third-place finish last season, and Todd started off the season here in Wellington with a win coming right out of the blocks in Challenge Cup action with Kikabo Spirit during the premiere.
And then Todd fell off a horse, I think, at home and broke a couple ribs. He's been out for the season for a little bit, so he's just jumping back up at this level. And I saw him jump the other day, and I actually thought the little bit of the break that the horse had maybe benefited him because the horse was absolutely flying, and he's jumping beautifully here tonight. I mean, he's just 9 years old. This is really impressive for him to come out here under the lights and handle this well. This is a great class for a horse like this where Todd can just develop him. Jumps up super high at the Hermès Oxer, but this is a clever horse. It's a big horse. But it is, just a little bit on that angle like we're seeing, the way that it's coming up for a lot of people. And every time, remember, when you're on an angle to a jump, your distance that you think you have you end up just a fraction closer than you want. And then there just jumps up high coming out at sea and just doesn't get across the back. But jumps the last well. Unfortunate, but a nice class and development for this 9-year-old coming up at this level.
Wrapping up on a total of 74.97, I should say. A couple of knockdowns there. 8 total faults, that is, for Todd and Kikabo Spirit, as you're saying, sort of just getting back after having to take some time off due to injury. Todd's had that experience a couple of times in his career, and he always perseveres. He is a tough customer indeed.
Yes, he is.
All right, coming to us next now, we have Anna Dryden, who will be here aboard a 10-year-old bay mare by Guillaume Son. This is Gypsy Love, entry number 5870. She's been top 6 a couple of times this season in Ocala with this mount. She's actually been splitting her time between Ocala and here in Wellington. One time a runner-up on another horse, Christian's Corrado, at the 3-star level there in Ocala, but tonight focusing on this meter 50 aboard Gypsy Love. She's another rider for the USA, trying to be the third one clear tonight.
And Anna's, I competed with her when we were kids, and she's just super tough. A beautiful rider. She's tall, but she's very light up there on the horse. has a good natural feel. She's been working more in the European system over the last period. And, you know, the difference between the American and the European system, Europeans a little bit more focused maybe sometimes on the flat work and really strong in the basics, and it adds a lot of finesse to riding. And she just uses her upper body really well there. Again, like I said, Anna's a little bit taller of a girl, and a woman, and she does a great job to not have her upper body get in the way at all. Horse shifts a little bit there underneath her, but she uses there a great opportunity to use that upper body and hold it, keep the horse in the air over the vertical, gets across that. This horse having so much blood, jumps beautifully up around those candy cane poles, sets this up nice, sits up, great timing with her body.
And speaking of time, she's got no trouble on the clock from what I can tell here. She comes around the bend with just 2 fences left.
1 left to go. Keeps it active in the gallop, gets across that. Absolutely beautiful work. Glad to see her go clear.
Well, U.S. riders are hitting on all cylinders so far here tonight. She is the third one to get a clear. So we'll see Gypsy Love and Anna Dryden in the now 3-horse tiebreaker. Looking forward to that. And we're coming up on the midway point of the class here with just 2 more before we'll take a drag break.
Absolutely. Love to see 3 women in the jump off. It's going to be a nice battle to see who makes it to the top. I thought Anna gave a beautiful ride here. Look at that to the last. Okay, they didn't show it, but she really did a great job to regenerate that energy and keep the pace up and make sure she had space so that the horse could really use all power to get across the last.
Among our 2 left before we get to that drag break, Mark Blumen of Columbia is in. He's here aboard Quick Chick 3, a 9-year-old Holsteiner mare by Cuevados. And he's 23rd on the original order. 3 times this season he's been top of the list in 2, 3, and 4-star events in Ocala and in Wellington. That's among many other international placings so far this season. And again, Mark Blumen is the rider for Columbia, first of 2 left before the break. He has been a part of the Bolivarian Games in Lima, Peru for Columbia, so he's been an international team rider for his home country.
Just looked like the horse shifted a little bit. I almost could tell as it was taking off that it wasn't going to be able to get across it. It really shifted hard right as it jumped A of that double. And it's a sporty horse to see. I haven't actually seen this horse jump so much, but just lost a little bit of power as it kind of dove to the right across that. Yeah, you can see it even shifts a little bit right there. In that particular case, it helped him. It actually helped keep the jump a little bit straighter. But already here, he's on the right. If you just look at where the stripes of the poles were, he's on the right side of them. And again, when they shift on takeoff like that, they lose a little bit of height in the air. And Marky doing a good job to try to keep the horse straight. Gets over that last one, but unfortunately with a couple down.
So he will finish out on 8 faults in 73.84. Still just inside the ribbons at 11th. We'll see how that shakes out since we're just at the midway point here so far this evening. One more rider will join us before we get into the midway break. There's another look at the A element, 5A that is, dropping down there, and that was one of the 2 rails that Marky had over the course in round 1. Last one to go before the break will be Lucie Delaurier. She rides for the U.S. and here aboard the Luja LLC entry. This is Jovaro N, a 10-year-old Royal Dutch Warm Blood Stallion by H5 Elvaro, number 3574 for scoring this evening. Another great young rider with us here.
Yeah, Lucie's been such a tremendous rider from a young age. Both her parents ride fabulously. She's had amazing opportunities, and she just, rode on senior teams for the U.S. and shortlisted for the Olympic Games in Tokyo. So she just has had great experience. And she's a beautiful rider.
Indeed, she is. She's been a part of the Team Bronze there back in the Pan Am Games in 2019.
And looks similar to her mom on her horse. Her mom was also a wonderful rider who I used to compete against back in the day. And she looks like her mom on a horse, and her mom was fabulous. And it's great to see that the apple did not fall far from the tree.
Yeah, she's also, of course, benefited from The
help from-
expertise of Mario Delarier
Exactly.
of Canada.
It's a good horsey family. And this horse, she's been just developing over the last period up to this higher level. Just having B down there. The horse has a big stride. It's not super easy for him to make these adjustments, especially in a vertical situation that's quite short. And the horse, again, wanting a little bit of time over that front rail to get away from that front rail, and then just has B of the triple. There you can see Beezy Madden helping her out a little bit. Standing on the kiss and cry watching.
Great to see all these legends that show up in the kiss and cry area there. We were talking about Mario and the experience that she's gotten from him, who's been riding at the international level. Of course, Lucy's mom as well. But BC Madden, you certainly don't want to shake a stick at that, because that's about as top level as you can get for the USA. She'll unfortunately have the penalty for the knockdown there, and that's going to give her a finish score of 4 faults and 74.54. She will be still among the top 7, and she'll exit the ring this evening with 3 in front of her. Actually, a few more than that in front of her, but the ones I was talking about are the clears. Elena Haas, Anna Dryden, Abigail McCardle. They're the ones that will be qualified to come back. And I should say, actually, Elena is going to be the first in the jump off. Abigail second, and Anna Dryden will be third. That's the order they qualified in. But we still have quite a while before we get into the jump off, because we are only halfway. As you can see, we're going to have tractors coming in, freshen up the footing a little bit here before we continue on into the second half of the class. Right now, if you've got a 4-fault penalty, you're still in the ribbons nicely, but I would have to think that as we look down through the list here, starting back up after the break with Samuel Perot of Chile, Samuel Perot Jr., I should say, Allison Robitaille of the U.S., Jessica Springsteen of the U.S. We've got 3 dynamic riders who will be joining us right out of the blocks, and they've got time now to think after they've seen all these other riders and determine what it's going to take to add their names to the list. This is, of course, an event brought to us by Hermès, and since the company was founded in 1837, Hermès remains dedicated to making high-quality, handcrafted equestrian products for the horse rider and barn. Their workshops maintain a tradition of saddle making passed down from generation to generation of skilled artisans, and with a strong commitment to innovation, Hermès integrates new materials and technology to develop high-performance technical apparel and equipment to meet the needs of riders at the highest levels of equestrian sport. Proud to expand their support of the Winter Equestrian Festival with their sponsorship of the Hermès Meter 50 Championship Jumper Series and their presence in the International Warm-Up Ring and Riders Lounge. The professional staff of Hermès are pleased to offer the highest level of specialized customer service to ensure your comfort and safety this season. And our winner of tonight's event, in addition to the prize money, will take home a $10,000 store credit to Hermès and their high-quality products. Coming back out of the break, we'll still have plenty more to go. We'll pick up at 25th in the order and see how many more of them can qualify for the return round.
Being an athlete requires dedication and commitment. As an athlete, you are at times in your own mind. You must have confidence for yourself and your horse. In equestrian sports, men and women compete equally. This mare has class.
To her round for Brent Trust Stables. This is Chloe Winchester and Tisara Quality Cruise.
Introducing Tizara Classic Tea. Be mindful, be present, turn on your brain.
With NetJets, travel will always be personal. We do everything it takes to make every flight exceptional. Every single detail of your experience is personalized, just for you. As our standard is not just to meet our definition of perfection, it's to exceed yours.
coming back out of the break. As you can see, the tractors wrapping up their drag work. And we're about to see the second half of the class picking up at 25th in the order. About 21 remain here. And so far, as you can see up in the right-hand corner of your screen, Elena Haas was our first one to go clear, joined by Abigail McCardle about 6 rounds after that. And again, not too long before the break, Anna Dryden. All 3 ladies, all 3 for
American.
the USA. So it's so far a home team dominating the pack, but we've got a rider for Chile who is proud to represent his home country in the Chilean Pan American Games that happened last season, Samuel Perot Jr.
But it's looking like a good day for the U.S. because they're currently leading the way in Ocala in the Longines League of Nations. So it's a good day for the U.S. We'll see if anyone can take it here.
We're going to be watching Samuel Perot Jr. coming up next. And he, of course, represents Chile. He's aboard HFB Versace. And this is a 12-year-old warm blood gelding by Verdi TN.
All right. We'll see how he gets started in this second half. Again, statistically, like I said, on the first horse coming out of the gate, first horse after the break, first and second horses after the break also have a higher statistical chance of going clear. So let's see if Sam Perot Jr. can do that.
Sam Perot, Sam Perot Jr., that is, perhaps well known for another of his mounts, Indigo Z, who's been in the ribbons so far this season in 2- and 4-star events here in Wellington. He's also been competing in Ocala this season, but mostly here.
Of course, his dad's such a super rider. They look real similar on a horse. A little bit that longer rein style.
Didn't have a whole lot of momentum coming around that corner to the avocado fence number 3, but he made it work.
Yeah. Steadies up here. This horse covering the ground really well, not needing to move up at all in that 6. Horse really jumping well. As you can see, bridges his reins. He's holding the extra loop of the rein in his hand. Typical thing that we see with a lot of guys. A lot of male riders tend to do that.
Wonder why that is.
I wonder why that is. Not very many. I know it's weird. Not very many.
It's an
females
interesting
do it.
observation
yeah,
to start
not
off
a lot
with.
of men. Not a lot of women do it. I don't know if it's smaller hands. It's a lot of stuff to hold in your hands. I used to ride with a lot thinner reins than most men. I mean, maybe that's why. But he's looking pretty good here. He's got 2 left to jump. Like I said, first after the break. Can he do it? And close on the time, however. But he does manage to do it.
Yeah, it's a 76-second time allowed. He'll get there in 75.34, and it looks like HFB Versace is maybe even more excited than Samuel is for the penalty-free ride. He's going to change a few things now. He's going to make it a truly international field because we've had 3 U.S. riders so far, and we'll have a gentleman represented also in the return round. Up to this point, it was just ladies from the USA, but now 3 ladies from the U.S., 1 gentleman from Chile will be a part of that jump off. And we'll welcome in next another of our U.S. riders here by the name of Allison Robitaille. She comes to us with the Allison Firestone LLC entry. This is Dagny number 3703, a 10-year-old Swedish mare by Durant, and she has been a top 12 competitors several times already this year. Coast to coast over the course of the past season here in Wellington, out in Thermal. And she has also been a part of our U.S. team's Nations Cup events, as well as World Equestrian Game and Pan Am Games. And she's also been a 5-time rider at the World Cup Finals.
Just a small resume, you know. Not done too much. No, Allison's been such a great rider.
Indeed, she has.
For so many years.
She's such a sort of a humble but very quality rider. You know, she doesn't make a lot of noise, but she definitely makes her presence known with the results.
Yeah, absolutely. And she always has a really nice group of horses. She has a couple of chestnut mares that I really like at the moment. She's given this one a really good ride. He's not the biggest horse, but she is giving it a good ride. Nice strong ride there at that oxer, which we saw cause a lot of trouble in the first half. It's funny, this is actually kind of a nice angle to see the triple at. You can really see kind of the push off of the ground.
It looked like her horse was drifting just a bit left going through that triple combination, but it all worked out for her. Not just there, but also all the way to the finish line. Danier is good. 73.93 is the time. I told you when we went into the break there that as they have some time to sort of catch their breath after having seen the first 22 entries, they may have had some time to sort of analyze what they had seen up to that point and really figure it out. And we've already seen that come to pass with Samuel Perot Jr. and Allison Robitaille making it through. Let's see if Jessica Springsteen can make it 3 in a row penalty-free over this course. She is here aboard Naomi Vanette Kiesershoff. This is a Stonehill Farm entry out of her base in New Jersey. Naomi Vanette Kiesershoff is an 11-year-old Belgian mare by Cardento 933. Jessica, also a rider who's been a proud representative of the United States in international events, such as the most recent Olympic Games, part of the team silver medal there in Tokyo, and 3 times prior to that, she demonstrated her ability to be a part of those teams when she was part of the Young Riders. And as I mentioned earlier, those Young Rider events are an opportunity for talent to be recognized. She went on to prove that it was no fluke, and she has now been a proud member of the U.S. teams and international events.
She's had this horse since I think it was about 6 years old, and she's been just developing it up to this level. It's a really scopy, beautiful jumper. Can be very, very fast. She's had some great placings in some of the meter 50 speeds all season here.
Also very experienced on the European Tour. She's had a lot of ribbons over there in Europe, some of them coming aboard Naomi Vanette Kiesershoff, and she has been among top 2 ribbons in our meter 50 classics so far this season. In fact, one of them coming just a few weeks back.
A little bit of a touch at the vertical there. You could see the horse. She took the first one out of the corner to that oxer up at the top, was really rolling down there with pace, and just a little bit of a touch at the vertical. Luckily, it stayed up. Now she gets the balance back, sets the mare up for the triple, really jumps around that. Mare actually crossed her front legs as she jumped the oxer coming out there. 1 left to go. Just giving this a really good ride. Stretches across the last. Look at that time. Very fast. Excellent clear round.
I was betting on seeing 5 clear after the break. We are likely going to see more
than
than
we're
that.
a little off. I think we're going to see way more than 5 at this rate.
And we'll figure it out. But Samuel Perot, Allison Robitaille, Jessica Springsteen make it a streak of 3 penalty-free after the break, and they have already now doubled our jump-off list since we took the drag break. 6 now qualified to come back.
And like I said, you know, those first couple after the break, normally, statistically, we do see a lot of clears coming out of that, and it is holding true tonight.
Up next, we have Nicole Walker, a rider for Canada. And certainly if you are a Canadian native, one of the big shows you want to be a part of is the Toronto Royal. And she was there last year, had a few big ribbons in 4-star events, including a runner-up in faults-converted speed action there among several other placings. She's also been in the ribbons regularly this season. Some runner-up in our Grand Prix here in Wellington at the 2-star level. And Nicole Walker piloting Atout de Tremble. This is the 14-year-old Saint Francais gelding by Nectar de Forêt. A few years back, she was part of the Pan Am Games squad in 2019 for Canada.
This horse has a unique style of jumping, kind of pulls its front legs up out in front of him, and then unfolds a little bit early, but it's a really good jumper. Stays a little bit straight through the top line, but again, that is not a sign of any kind of trouble. You actually sometimes see a lot scopier horses who are a little bit straighter through their back as they jump. There he just kind of tucks his hind end up and under him, in between that oxer. Big push out here, and she's looking good. I think her time also, ooh. And then the front pole of that looked like she just took the first one out of the turn, got a little bit long and kind of weak as she took off, and just kind of jumped right into that top pole.
That's got to hurt when you get so far along in the course, and it's one of the last fences there, the Liverpool vertical, that I would have guessed would have been more of a problem tonight. It hasn't been down as much as I would have expected, but she has it down, scores 4, and so she'll exit on that. We'll stay at 6 for right now anyway on the clear list.
Yeah, the jump here, you can see it at Liverpool. They have horizontally striped poles. And again, it's another bit of an optical illusion. The poles, they just don't see the top, and they look down at the Liverpool. And Liverpool also on the back side of the jump, so they draws their eyes even past the front pole or the top pole.
We've got Alexandra Worthington coming in. She'll be here aboard the horse owned by Turn a Blind Eye LLC. This is De l'Oselier. This is a 11-year-old Sol Francais gelding by Capital d'Argon. She has shown this one in Europe in a couple of different events, from the Netherlands to Switzerland. In fact, in Geneva, was an under-25 Grand Prix runner-up late last year. She's placed in the ribbons here in Wellington as well as over in Sarasota this season on De l'Oselier.
Actually, I haven't seen Alexandra here in Wellington so much yet this season, but jumped beautifully there at the plank. Really pat the ground and jumped up and away from it. And Alexandra looks like she's quite tall, but she also is another one of those who does a good job to hold her upper body. And horse just cuts down and lands a little bit early there at the Hermès Oxer, not able to get across the back pole. Fixes that mistake beautifully at the candy cane stripes. You can see the horse really jumped up well around that. Horse has quite a lot of push off the ground. A little bit of a touch there at the top. You can see the pole kind of rattle in the cups, but luckily that one stays up, so she'll only finish with that one down.
For the score there for Alexandra Worthington and De l'Oselier, and she'll go into 9th place with a 73.03 time.
There you can see the horse jumped up real high and just came down a little bit early. Like I thought, that Hermès Oxer causing trouble both in front and behind for the poles coming down often.
Got to have the perfect combination of height and scope to get across those oxers, and sometimes when you're up and over those might distract the horse a little bit, as we said earlier on. This is a Liverpool oxer under the lights, so the glare off of the water may be just a little bit enough of a distraction to take their attention off of where it needs to be to get up and across. Rider coming up next is here for Brazil, hoping to be the first one to qualify for jump-off action tonight. It's Luis Francisco de Acevedo aboard Santa Cecilia Stables entry HFG Quaman. 11-year-old gelding by Diamant de Semilly, 30th to go here tonight, and one of his runner-up entries in Meter 50 Classic action in the early part of the season back in January. He's been splitting his time between Wellington and over in Sarasota.
Back pole, that red double coming down as well. Again, there's a lot for them to look at as they're galloping down into that corner on the straight line across the diagonal. And they start to see B, and then they just cut down a little bit at A with all those red poles. Nowhere for them to differentiate. And then they're just underestimating, I think, kind of studying, trying to understand where B is at, and then they're just jumping it a little bit shallow. Good jump there. Really jumped beautifully and high around that. He goes out, steadies up. And unfortunately, having B down as well. And now we're seeing this Liverpool at the end come down much more. And he was just a little bit far off at the end. There you can see a little frustration from his team going, not quite working out. Looking like it just lost a little bit of stamina as the end of the course came up. You know, he had a couple down really at the end. Here we can see this jump. He jumps up, but just lands a little shallow. Good jump out. And then, of course, he had a couple down at the end as the stamina. And it's hot and humid out there tonight. We've seen a lot of rain, so the humidity is quite high. Makes it a little bit more tiresome for the horses. And long enough course out here tonight.
Back to the USA. Brazil, unfortunately, not getting on the board tonight for a qualified ride. We'll see whether Alex Matz can be the next of our American riders to get in. He comes to us here aboard Cashew CR. He's had this one for a few years now. It is a 16-year-old Holsteiner gelding by Cassini. Entry owned by Dorothy Matz. It's number 6723. He showed into the ribbons in the World Cup class in Ocala last week with Cashew CR. Alex Matz twice showing to the Young Rider Championships here in the U.S. So he's another rider that has been identified as a Team U.S. representative for the future.
Shifted real hard there after the triple bar. Alex did a good job to kind of just put his leg back on and make sure the horse really knew where he was going so he could get back on track and not end up too long coming into that double where we've seen a lot of people kind of jump off that front rail and have the back one down. So he did a really good job to fix that. And now he's keeping it organized and together. Angles that a little bit, works out, and then he steadies up into the triple. A little bit help out, but no trouble for Cashew. Then he comes forward around the turn, sets up the vertical. One left to go. Time is well in hand.
Chalk up another clear. We'll have Alex Matz in the list of qualifiers. Cashew CR. Fresh off of a ribbon in a big World Cup class last week. Good to go in our meter 50 classic final here on Saturday night. Well done.
Yeah, look at this. So he came around the turn forward, and then he set up. That's exactly what you want to do. The goal is forward, forward to slow, slow, right? You want to come forward through the turn and then slow at the jump. And Alex did that beautifully to bottle up and package that energy on takeoff.
We have Caitlin Connors coming in. Caitlin Connors LLC entry out of Pennsylvania is the 15-year-old Zangersata gelding by Florian de la Vie. This is Falcon de Us, number 4027. And this has been her mainstay ride over the past several years. Last year, a couple times in top 3 rankings, Grand Prix action from Traverse City to Tryon, showing into the ribbons in Devon as well at the 4-star level, and several times here in Wellington this season. Oh, goodness. They didn't see what they wanted on the approach to the triple bar there, and it looked like they almost stopped. Falcon de Uzi choosing to go ahead and move forward, but they just didn't have enough to get up and over the widest of fences on the course here this evening.
Yeah, I think she was pushing for the one less. I mean, I think she absolutely thought that she was getting there. And Falcon just saying, we're a little too far. I can't quite jump from there. So she'll take a courtesy fence after that. And they will call it a night. But he doesn't look like that fazed him much at all.
No, like I said, they've had a lot of experience, and I'm sure we'll see them in successful events later on. Tonight, they will choose to save their efforts for another competition down the road. Again, it is early in the year. This is just March. It's incredible that it's March when you think about it.
Wow.
It feels like it was just December yesterday, but we're already 3 months into 2024. But that, of course, means we've got 9 months remaining in the season here. So they did want these horses to go ahead and have enough left in the tank for the upcoming shows. There's so much international competition these days on the show jumping front here in North America.
Yeah, I don't even think it's a season anymore. I think it's
It's
52 weeks a year if you want it to be, and you kind of just map out, from show to show. I don't think anyone really thinks of it as a seasonal sport anymore.
Indeed, you're true. You're correct about that. Kat Tyree Flores coming to us now. Catherine Tyree LLC entry. This will be Newton van het Krekelhof. This is an 11-year-old Belgian gelding by Diamant de Semely.
Oh, has that down behind. Again, we have not actually seen that come down more than 1 or 2 times throughout the night, but Newton just kind of popped it behind as he came down a bit early. And then there also cutting down at that red oxer into the double. Like I thought, that red double is causing trouble. We didn't see it so much earlier on, but we've certainly seen it come down plenty throughout the middle section of this class. The horse is just not getting up the 6 and cutting down on the back pole. And then she'll have the front pole of the Hermès as well. Looked like she got the balance and then decided she needed to move up a little bit more right on takeoff, and then just had a little bit too much speed and just jumped a little bit low in that front pole. Just didn't have a chance to get his front legs out of the way. Jumps through the triple well. A little bit of a touch at sea, but that was very, very light. She gets over that Liverpool. A little stretch at the last, but unfortunately having a few down.
And you can see the disappointment on the crew back at the Kiss and Cry viewing area there while Katari Flores heads out. All told 12 faults here on Newton Venet Krickelhoff. Along we go to Peter Lutz, also a U.S. rider here with the Lostos de Terre entry. This is Catriona, number 3634. It's a 9-year-old Royal Dutch Warm Blood mare by Kennen. Peter Lutz very busy here through the course of the season. He's one of the riders that gets down here in late fall and focuses his efforts on the Wellington Tour all the way through, as you were just talking about how it's pretty much just a constant season, 52 weeks straight, and then you go right back to it. He has been here all the way through from the late fall on. He will, as I say that, have a rail fall there at number 3, which we said earlier, the avocado vertical is going to be a problem. That also hasn't been down as much as we would have thought it was going to be, but it will come down here, as will the A element at number 5.
Yeah, funky what it did actually, what the mare did at number 3. She almost kind of took a trot step. It looked like she went to take a bid, and then he tried to slow her down and try to put one more in. And it was a bit of a funky move. She kind of swapped leads, almost trotted. It was not a typical fault, and certainly not what Peter had planned. And then the way she took off at A of the double, she just never really pushed and set herself and took off squarely. She jumped it very different than she jumped the triple bar or the vertical coming out of that double. But again, just 9 years of age, probably one of the first classes that she's really jumped here under the lights. And just developing her, looking like she's sort of figuring it out now. Horse has a big gallop, and she has a lot of scope, and, just got a little bit green tonight.
Rails coming at 2 locations. He'll also finish over the time allowed by 2 commenced seconds. We haven't seen very many time faults this evening, but he will finish with 2 of those, so his total then is 10 faults on the night.
Yeah, I think after that early fault that happened in such an odd way, I don't think he was concerned so much about the time. He just wanted to give the mare a nice confident
Right, as
ride.
you said, a 9-year-old horse. He's probably just trying to give it as good an experience from that point forward as possible, build the confidence back up by the time they get to the finish line. I would be willing to bet that Catriona had no idea they were over the time allowed and is leaving with just the good experience from 5A onward. Everything else they cleared, and he, I'm sure, is exiting feeling good about that.
Absolutely.
Few times a winner already this season. We have Philip McGuane with us. Philip is coming as a representative of Ireland for Evergate Stables with Orphea HQ, number 1550. And it's interesting to think that we had the first 3 out of the blocks after the drag break penalty free, but haven't seen one since then. So maybe our estimate of 5 more after the break is going to be a good one, but we don't have any riders for Ireland just yet. And unfortunately, his 5A drops here as well for Philip McGuane and his 10-year-old Belgian mare by Emerald. He as well will have a 4-fault penalty and won't make it onto the board. But let's see if he has a time at least fast enough to get him in to the ribbons.
Yeah, and also, he had to do a big jump coming out of the double the way that he jumped A, and the way the mare jumped A, and then he had to really push to get out at B, and then he landed, and the horse really shifted, and he had to absolutely move up a ton in that plank. He did a good job to ride that. And unfortunately, also having the back pull of the Hermès Oxer.
Orphea, by the way, was his Challenge Cup winner back in February during week 6 of the festival here. He's also had a win in meter 45 action on Linguini de la Pomme here in Wellington this season. So he has led the victory lap a couple of times already.
And he'll have the back pole of the last one or the front pole actually maybe of the last one as well, which we haven't seen the last one come down much. I think a little bit of space in that 6 helped a lot of the horses not have that down, but unfortunately, Philip falling victim to it. And they're struggling with the top 2 poles coming in, and there you can see that's where he really had to move up. And then he jumped up nice here, but the horse just never finished behind. Just didn't open up and hold herself to get across that.
I do have to make a quick correction here. I said the first 3 after the drag break went clear. That included Samuel Perot Jr., Allison Robitaille, and Jessica Springsteen. We also had Alex Matz. So there have actually been 4 since that break that have gotten in. And so it's a total of 7 with 3 before the break, 4 after the break qualified to jump off. Sanchano is in now. This is a Jacqueline Roll entry, another of our U.S. riders. Jacqueline here aboard this, the 15-year-old Oldenburg gelding by Sandro Boy. And she as well has an early rail, and that comes at that first racing fence number 2. The multicolored rails with the light one on top there. And another victim possibly of just focusing on the darker, more contrasting rails below.
Yeah, absolutely. Number 2 definitely causing a lot of trouble here. And honestly, we've seen that jump. It's a new jump here to the Winter Equestrian Festival. I haven't seen it in years previous, and it's caused a lot of trouble all season long for the horses. Like you said, it's got a teal pole, then a black pole, then a blue pole, then a black pole. It's a lot of different colors, and they just don't focus on that light-colored top one. They look, I think, down at the darker ones. But she's looking pretty solid the rest of this round so far. And where we've seen a lot of trouble at the red the red double, Sanchano actually jumped through that easily. And no trouble there through the triple as well. Scopy horse, 15 years of age, so clearly lots of experience. And looking like she maybe will just have that early fault. She will. You can see Beezy again. Beezy helping a couple different people out here tonight.
Jacqueline Rule among them. She scores 4. She'll at least be in the ribbons for now with a 71.65 time. 3rd fastest of the 4 falters to date. Coming to us next is entry number 5128, rider for Germany. And one of 2 riders for Germany left in the field here. This is Rupert Karl Winkleman with the Eichendorff horses entry. It's Duvary, number 5128, an 11-year-old Celle Francais gelding by Diamant de Saint-Méliès, a very well-known sire. Meter 50 winner last month in February here in Wellington aboard Quinn 33. He's also been a runner-up on Duvary in Sarasota last month. And he joins us again here as a rider for Germany, coming to us as the first of about 10 left in the first round.
Rupert working with Sean Crooks this season, and he's been super solid in all of these classes. Like you said, he won a class earlier, meter 50 speed, a couple weeks ago on Quinn, and he's got a number of different horses and jumping in the 5 stars. He's been doing really well all season.
Duvary, Quinn 33, and Calvado's son, as well as Omar van de Hunters, his 4 mounts that have kept him in the ribbon so far here in Wellington.
And Rupert also does a lot of business and really innovative in his approach to the horse sport. I think he's one of the younger guys kind of coming up, and he's does some dealing with horses, and he's very into technological things, and I think he's really somebody that cares about the development of horse sport, and he's really interested and just really great guy to listen to, talk to about the sport. And he's just a huge fan of the sport and clearly a very good rider. Steadies up here, has a hard rub at at A actually, but luckily that one stayed up. We've seen it come down so many times tonight, but Rupert getting a little bit lucky. And he steadies up here, does the one more. I think just thinking about trying to set up the steady 5 so he doesn't have to work so hard in the 5. Again, in that particular line, because the 5 is so short and we've seen the Oxer come down so many times, it makes it, you sort of make your job a little bit easier if you do the hard work in the first part of the line versus having to do it in the short 5. Unfortunately, has the following jump down and then also has B of the triple. And that one, the horse just really shifts to the right, touches it in front and then also behind, having also the back pole of the last as well.
Yeah, it looked like he was coming around that turn to fence number 12, trying to stay out, but the horse sort of ducked in a bit, and that just changed the distance and put him in a bad spot to overcome that Liverpool vertical. And, of course, they also pulled the last rail. So, all told, 4 knockdowns, 16 faults the score. Germany is not shut out just yet because we do have Kendrick Garcia Brinkop, who's the second to last spot of the order of go. So maybe they'll get on the board here. But the last chance for Great Britain to be a part of the jump-off is Amanda Derbyshire. We'll see her aboard Auto BH. And this is a 12-year-old Zangerside stallion by Norton Deol. She has been a meter-50 winner last month, early February on Auto BH, and that's actually been her winning entry in Thermal, California, early season at the end of 23. She's also been a top contestant in Grand Prix action over in Sarasota this year on this one, and a WEF Challenge Cup winner during week 2. Amanda Derbyshire piloting, again, Auto BH. 5.988 is the number for scoring. She's been a World Games rider and a rider at the European Championships, where she was part of the bronze medal team back in 2019 on behalf of Great Britain.
And currently has only one stirrup, which is, I'm sure, very annoying. And she had no balance then coming in at 5A. It's actually probably why the jump came down, because this horse is usually very, very careful. And she just couldn't have both feet in the stirrups to give herself the balance to kind of help him out there. And unfortunately has the back pole of that. I would have thought that this was actually maybe one of the favorites for the class tonight. She's won a lot of classes on him, won that Challenge Cup early in the season, been very, very competitive. And unfortunate there that she lost her stirrup, because that definitely played a factor. Has it back and is looking organized here. A little bit of a touch there at the top. And then stretches across the last. Unfortunately, we'll have to have that one down. And that'll keep her out of the jump-off. Let's look at it here. Yeah, you see one stirrup, and she takes off, and you can see she's trying to hold herself, and she just couldn't help add a little bit extra leg to get across that. I think just a little bit more. If she had been balanced and she would have been able to add just a little bit more of a squeeze, she was kind of holding on to the side, you could tell. And what a shame.
Yeah, and that happened very shortly before the 5A element there, so she didn't have a whole lot of time to make up for that.
No, when you lose it like that right after from the triple bar or whatever, you're not thinking about getting your stirrup back. The only thing you're thinking about is, I got a jump coming up in 6 short strides.
It's a little bit almost survival at that point.
Absolutely.
Niall Nasser is number 39 in the world, and he pilots for Egypt, the Evergate Stable entry. This is Edgard de Prefontaine, a 14-year-old gelding by Contact van de Heffink. 2 times a winner this season on horses Coronado and Ivory TCS out in Thermal, California, and here in Wellington. In fact, just a couple of weeks back, he was a meter 50 4-star winner here at the Winter Equestrian Festival, and that's among many other top 3 rankings for Niall.
Niall's been having a super season. He has a lot of really talented horses at the moment, and he's been riding really, really well, really solid, and he's been competitive at every level. Was on the podium in the 5-star Grand Prix a couple of weeks ago. Won the class on Ivory last week. So he's been on fire, and on all the different horses, not just one horse. He's just been very, very consistent, and confidence kind of shining through in his riding.
Yeah, that consistency, that confidence, that ability in the saddle here has taken him to 2 World Championships, Olympics as well in the most recent games there back in 2021, among others, including 3 World Cup finals.
Rode that really well through the triple. Got through A and B, and then you can see added a little bit of leg, just encouragement to get out and push. And looking good. How's the time, however? You think he does actually pick up a time fault, unfortunately.
So we have Jennifer there at the back gate watching as he wraps up on a time of 76.12. The numbers right after that point are what make the difference, giving him just the 1 fault on the clock. So a little bit of bad luck based on the pace.
And that means actually that our 3 riders who are here in our top 10 overall standings, none of them have made it into the jump-off. So we'll have to see how those overall standings do finish up without any of them being in the jump-off. Niall was the closest, of course, but with that 1 time fault, it'll keep him out.
Right, so it's anybody's night to win here. Remember, there's not only the $150,000 in prize money at stake, we've also got that $10,000 certificate for their great high-quality Hermès products. So I know these riders are looking forward to not just the checks, but also Hermès items there that they know are going to be high quality. Jordan Coyle of Ireland, the last rider for Ireland, excuse me, the first of 2 riders left for Ireland. We also have Connor Swill at the end of the line here, but Jordan's aboard Falkirk Farms for gold, number 4565. One of his winners already this season in our Challenge Cup events. He's also had some other big ribbons in Ocala and across the state on the west coast there in Sarasota.
He rode that 6 into the double, the best of anyone of this entire class so far. He landed off the triple bar, moved up right away, and then he was steadying. Everyone else has been just a little bit long and weak there, and he got the best jump out of his horse of anyone of the class so far. And you may disagree, but I am standing behind that statement because I think he rode that like a true pro.
Well, let's see how it all ends up here at the finish line. So far, so good through some of the most troubling parts.
Gets through A, B, C. This horse is flying. Jordan has also been riding great all season.
Yeah, he's had 5 wins so far in 2024.
That's a pretty good start to the season, I would say. And like we said, not the season, the year. And he'll add his name to the good list. Fast on the time as well.
Clear round music is truly, literally music to the ears of our rider for Ireland, Jordan Coyle, and 4 gold will get in for Falkirk Farm. So
Look at that. Beautiful. He was going for gold tonight.
Indeed. We'll see how things shake out there in the jump-off. He is the sole rider so far for Ireland, and all told, we have a total of 9. Actually, 8, excuse me. 9th one there was the time falter for Niall, so 8 that are good to go into that jump-off. We'll see how many more can get in. I really have a good feeling that we'll see some more penalty-free rides. Whether or not Alessandra Volpe is going to make it in, we'll find out. She is here for the USA, and up on Candy Luck Z, 9-year-old Zangersat mare by Comme Il Faut. She's the first of 6 left before we adjust for the tiebreaker.
We're getting down to the end of this, but we've got a couple of really good ones coming up. And this horse is just one of the most beautiful jumpers down here in Wellington all season. And again, just another 9-year-old jumping this class tonight. And unfortunately, Volpe set that up well. It looked like she just... As the horse took off, like we're seeing time and time again in this class, they're just jumping up around A, maybe studying B a little bit and just cutting down a little bit at the back pole of A. And we've just seen it come down so many times. The horse is just struggling to really read it properly. Jumps the Hermès, however, beautifully. And gets a good shot there at the candy cane stripe poles. And then steadies up here into the triple. Good use of her upper body. Nice out. Again, this horse is just 9 years old. Probably one of the first night classes she's ever jumped at this level. And she gets over the last, but I will say I think that was a very solid round there for the young 9-year-old. And I think Volpe won't be too disappointed with that at all.
72.98 is the time. 4 faults is the call, just out of the top 12 in this evening's Meter 50 Classic Series final. Again, brought to us by Hermès.
You can see on that replay, she got to the base of that, and horse just died a little bit on energy and balance as she took off.
Part of the royal family of riding from Canada, we have Amy Miller up next here aboard the Future Adventures entry. This is 14-year-old Dutch sport horse gelding by Canosso. It is Cristiano, and as you would expect from a top-notch family in the sport, she has been a part of the Canadian teams at the Olympics back in 2016, just a spot off of the podium there. She was also part of the World Championships in 2022 in Herning, Denmark, and in 23 a part of the Santiago Games there for the Pan Ams, where she was part of the team silver medal effort.
Amy just so solid, makes so few mistakes. Horses all really like her. She really has her own style, but she produces such successful rounds for Canada time and time again. They can always count on her. She's great under pressure.
This was, by the way, one of the meter 50 winning mounts for her back in January in the early part of the tour.
It was, and it was a beautiful round. I remember it. Ooh, horse just kind of throws his hind legs down there in the middle of the oxer, gets lucky that it's kind of in between the oxer, and doesn't touch a pole, so obviously doesn't count as any kind of penalty.
That's always amazing to me when we see something like that.
Yeah, it's more amazing when they kick a middle pole out, actually. That is always crazy. But no poles at all, and a clear for Amy.
There's Dad.
Looking happy.
He's pretty happy about it, indeed.
Look at my daughter. She's always producing the clear.
Ian Miller watching on proudly there as Amy makes it through. She'll be the rider for Canada to get into the
Here's a
jump
look
off
at
here.
that. Yeah. Oh, he really tucked his hind end in and kind of put it down in the middle and then pulled it back up. Great shot there. Nice to see another lady on the list.
Indeed. The one for Canada is in now. Coming up next is Carly Anthony. We actually saw her in the pre-class activities when we did the Sportsmanship Award for our juniors. Cara and her daughter Carly were out to present to our winner here this evening, RJ Maya, so congratulations to him. And she is now in to compete aboard Heavenly W for portfolio horses. This will be entry number 5592. Heavenly W, a 12-year-old Royal Dutch Warm Blood gelding by Calvaro FC, number 5592, first of 4 remaining.
And Carly's been really great on this horse all season. It's not necessarily the easiest horse. You can see it canters disunited most of the time. And that can make it a little bit hard to keep all the balance together. And I think Carly does a wonderful job with this horse. Brought it up to this high level. Of course, the horse had a lot of other riders in the past. And if I'm perfectly honest, I think Carly has done the best with it. And it's got a big, big stride by Calvaro. Calvaro is a horse that had tremendous scope and gave a lot of 160 horses, but all a little bit sensitive. And I would say that that is very much how Heavenly has been. All the talent, all the ability, but just more fragile in the mental state. And I think Carly has done a great job to manage that. And she's looking good so far. Takes the first one here out of the turn. I think that was actually the smart choice. It's really what came up. She can steady up to the last, well within that time, and another clear.
Nicely done. They're starting to stack up. Carly for the USA and Heavenly W giving us our 10th penalty-free ride. So it will be a nice jump off this evening. And I really actually like the jump-off course. I'm looking forward to talking about that when we get into that round 2. But we've got 3 more before the adjustment begins. 1 for the U.S., 1 for Germany, 1 for Ireland. And it'll be Lily Keenan, who is among the top 50, in fact, 48th in the current world ranking. She's aboard for Chansonet Farm with her horse Kick On. Kick On, a winner 2 weeks back across the state in Sarasota, in a 2-star Grand Prix level event. And this is a 10-year-old stallion by Warrior, entry owned by Chansonet Farm. She's actually had a couple of wins already this season between here in Ocala and over in Sarasota. Lily among the most stylish riders we have in the sport.
Stylish on and off the horse. And of course, our winner of our WEF Challenge Cup yesterday.
She was identified early on as part of potential team rides here for the USA. Twice a team gold medalist, once an individual gold medalist at the Young Rider Championships, and she has then gone on to become part of the Nations Cup efforts for the USA. Twice at the Nations Cup final in 2016 and 2021, and she was also on the squad in Denmark in 2022 for the World Championships.
Yeah, Lily's just at the top of her game. She has a number of horses. She's already shortlisted for the U.S. Olympic team for this upcoming games in Paris. They still have a few more to pick for that shortlist. And they'll do their observation events later on this season coming up, 3 months out or so from the games. But this is a newer horse for Lily, and actually this horse just started jumping at the international level. Like you said, it won a Grand Prix just last week or the week before, and she makes the adjustment here to the end, and look at that, looking like this is a super partnership, and just under that time allowed.
I was going to say comes close on the clock, but saves the speed for where it's needed in round 2, perhaps. We'll find out if she's got what it takes. She's going to make it in as the 11th short course contestant, and we have 2 more with an opportunity. The last chance for Germany to be represented in that jump-off round goes to Kendra Klausia-Brinkop with Stefik Stables entry. This is In Time, 11-year-old Royal Dutch Warmblood mare by Biscayo. And she has been a winner this season here in our Meter 50 Classics aboard another horse, Do It Easy. And that's one of several that she's earned top ribbons on this season. And not just here in the U.S. She's actually done quite a bit of competition in Spain during the Via de la Frontera circuit this year. But here she is in Wellington for the final Meter 50 class, brought to us by Hermès with In Time, number 8100.
Yeah, Kendra, came here from Spain. She spent most of the winter in Spain, then came here the last couple of weeks and has just sort of dominated since she got here. She just swooped in and has been placed in so many of the big classes, just showing how talented she is on a number of different horses and how at the top of her own game she's at. Beautiful rider, super commercial in the way that the horses jump with her, but also incredibly effective. And just such a superstar rider. She's looking good so far. A little bit of a reach there across that oxer. Sets up the triple well. You can see she really steadies from A to B. Then she get out a little bit of leg coming out at C. She rode that really well. To take a look at her time, I think she'll be okay.
I was a little concerned about that as she was coming around to the triple, but she gets there, no trouble.
Gets there. And that means Germany will have a representative in our jump-off, and that brings us up to 12. We were way off on our guess of the second half.
Way off. I think we were letting what happened in the first half determine a little bit too much what we guessed on in the second half. But obviously, as I said earlier on, if you come later in the class, you get a chance to watch and sort of maybe adjust your plan to what you're seeing actually take place on the field here. If you walk it one way and then you see people sort of riding it another way, you're able to adapt. Whereas if you go early in the class, you don't have that option. But you did say, statistically speaking, those early riders do have a great chance, based on history anyway, to get into that jump off. But right now we are up at 12 total, 12 ribbons available here tonight. So every position is going to be taken by a jump off rider, and maybe Connor Swale can be a part of that jump off tiebreaker. Among the highest ranked riders in the field this evening at 21st internationally. He's aboard the Asta Tarokve entry Gamble, number 8283, a 13-year-old Royal Dutch Warmblood gelding by Vingino. I spent the last couple of weeks before coming here to Wellington out in Thermal and got to watch Connor win several classes among a total of 10 that he took victories in over the course of the winter season in 10 weeks there. So he was about as dynamic as they can go. But here he is to wrap things up in round 1 with Gamble. Let's see if the gamble pays off.
Connor is just such an incredible, talented rider, and on so many different horses. Like you said, just domination out in Thermal this season. Every time I looked at the results, he won the class. It was impressive.
Yeah, he was very, very steady all the way through there.
I mean, currently ranked 21st in the world. He's been, I believe, in the top 10 already before. I want to say he's actually been in the top 5 before. And just such an unbelievable talent of a rider. Natural feel, incredibly fast, and on so many different kinds of horses.
Yeah, and he's just got that confident look about him. Sort of quintessential look for a rider.
Yeah. But well earned. Absolutely. Confidence breeds success, and success breeds confidence. And look at that. Just helps the horse there. You can see it jumps up high, needs a little bit of extra help. Connor uses his body to kind of help the horse get over. Similarly here, it really jumps up out of C beautifully. He's got 2 left. Makes a little bit of a decision out of the corner to make sure the horse follows him. That'll help his time.
He's
And
there.
He's a little close, but he is there. And he's plenty of time to spare.
Fault free and within, so that will round things out with 13. And of course, that means that when we get down to it here, only 12 of our 13 are going to get into the ribbon. So they're not just going to be fighting for the win, they're going to be fighting just to get some money out of this. And not only is it the prize money, but as I said earlier, it's also the bonus from Hermès. Hermès, the sponsor of the Meter 50 series. And they're going to give a $10,000 certificate for those great Hermès products to whoever has the most points at the end of the tour here in Meter 50 action. And again, Hermès, since the company was founded in 1837, has remained dedicated to making high-quality handcrafted equestrian products for the horse rider and barn. Workshops maintain a tradition of saddle making passed down from generation to generation of skilled artisans, and they have a strong commitment to innovation. Hermès integrating new materials and technology to develop high-performance technical apparel and equipment to meet the needs of riders at the highest levels of equestrian sport. And they're proud to expand their support of the Winter Equestrian Festival with the Hermès Meter 50 Championship Jumper Series and, of course, their presence in the International Warm-Up Ring and Riders Lounge. They have a professional staff pleased to offer the highest level of specialized customer service to ensure your comfort and safety this season. Thanks again to Hermès for their sponsorship. Later on, when we get to the awards, Diane Mahady will be with us, president of Hermès, and we'll be honored to have them presenting to our winner of the class and of the series that we're just about to wrap up when we get into that second round. Here we go, folks. It's about time to kick it into high gear, but not before we make the adjustments, and we'll give the crew, led by Andy Christensen, opportunity to adjust for that tie-breaking round. Andy Christensen, of course, a well-respected designer in national and international classes in the jumper and hunter front, and he received earlier tonight the David E. Burton Jr. Perpetual Trophy for extraordinary service. He's been in this sport and in this world for quite a long time. He is a course designer. He's also our crew chief here on the grounds, and there are a lot of staff members that do a lot of heavy lifting and a lot of hard work. He leads by example, being a very hard worker himself, so it's fitting that he received that prize during our opening ceremonies here for the Meter 50 Championship Series final tonight. We'll let him do his work and let you watch on as we prepare for the tie-breaking round, and we'll come back to give you an overview of the route and then see what happens in that 13-horse jump-off.
It goes like this.
Cowboy hustle is physically demanding. No doubt you gotta be tough. But even more important is your mental fitness. Your brain has to be firing on all cylinders to perform, to be clear, to concentrate, and to focus. I'm a father, a cowboy, a businessman, and a musician, and so much more. I drink Brain Java House Brew, packed with the brain power blend of essential vitamins and minerals my brain needs every day to get it done. Low in natural sugar, low in calories, low in carbohydrates, and low in sodium. It's a great natural and healthy alternative to energy drinks. Brain Java. Be mindful, be present, turn on your brain.
All right, it's time to get back into it now, ladies and gentlemen. We're just about to move on to the jump-off round. Tractors are continuing to do their work here. And again, 13 entries qualified to come back in that jump-off round. They started things off with the early clear that we saw from Elena Haas of the USA. She was one of 3 ladies before the break to get in, along with Abigail McCardle. And later on down the line there, we also saw Lucy Delaurier get in.
All right. We're going to see a course animation shortly, and I will take you guys around what the jump-off is going to be. It starts up at a new obstacle alongside the VIP tent. Number 15 is a vertical right-handed turn to that original red Oxer 5A. They've taken away the rest of the double. And then a left-hand turn to another new obstacle, a vertical orange and white Hermès 16, and then it is 8 strides down to number 1. We'll see if they can do that. The original number 1, the Mars Oxer. And then it's going to be a left-handed turn to the double verticals, which were 11A and B of our original triple. Now it's just a double of verticals. Rare to see in a jump-off. Usually we'll see an Oxer and a vertical in a double. So we'll see the double verticals, and then right-handed turn. I believe they're going to go inside. Our animation goes around 16. I think they're going to go inside to what was 7, now off the right lead, and then long run to number 9, which is the Hermès Oxer with the Liverpool underneath. Liverpool is still under there. Those orange poles, which we saw come down over and over throughout this class. So should be an exciting jump off. 13 Baker's dozen we're going to see. And I think it's going to be a showdown here. We'll see. We were trying to take some idea if who's going to win. We shall see. I think Brian was going for Connor. I was thinking Jordan Coyle.
If I had to make a call, I'd say Connor, but I might be biased by the fact that I just saw that all those wins out on the West Coast, and you can see Connor Swale is at the end of that list. Before we got into the description of the course there, I went down through and I was talking about the 3 that went before the break. I actually made a mistake there. It was Elena Haas, Abigail McCardle, and Anna Dryden was the 3rd before the break. But also, after the break, they really started coming through penalty-free. Samuel Perot Jr., Allison Robitaille, Jessica Springsteen. They were 3 in a row. After a break from them, we saw Alex Matz get in. The first of our Irish riders, Jordan Coyle, was in there. Then Canada put 1 on the board with Amy Miller, Carly Anthony, Lily Keenan, 2 more for the U.S. Germany's Kendra Clarcia-Brinkhoff was the single German rider. And again, at the end of the line, Connor Swale, 13th to go. I wonder how much those superstitious Irishmen worry about the fact that he's number 13 in the return order.
I don't know. I don't think they worry about that.
He's concentrating way more on his plan.
I don't even think he's thinking
for the
about
jump
that.
off. What do you think is going to be the trickiest part about this jump off round, Danny?
Whew, good question. You know, it starts out a lot of turns. You don't have anywhere to really get running because you got to make a rollback from 1 to 2, and then another kind of rollback turn around the gazebo, blind to the new obstacle. So 1, 2, 3 is a big serpentine across the middle of the ring. Can't really get going. Then we'll see if they do 8 or 9 to the Mars. Maybe the double verticals because you can turn back on that tight, but it is a double. And then, of course, long run to the last. We'll see people trying to go for it. It was 7 and then 5. We were calculating that should be 12 strides, but the strides out here sometimes get huge, much bigger than you think they're going to be. And I might think they could even do an 11 down to that last one if they catch the right one at the original number 7 Oxer. But we're going to see what happens. And I think it's going to be an exciting jump off. It certainly sets up that finale long run to the last Hermès Oxer.
I love that. And, of course, the Hermès Oxer paying tribute to the sponsor of the series here in our Meter 50 events all season long. I'll be interested to see what they do there. Again, from 7 to 9. They've removed fence number 8, what angle they hit 7 at, and how much they cut that turn between 7 and 9. We could see a wide range of numbers in there from anywhere between 12, 11. Who knows if they cut out a little bit there just to line up on the Liverpool Oxer. Maybe we'll see even more than that. I don't know.
It's a hard call, especially, the double verticals. So it's original A, B of the triple. to do the inside turn or inside the new number 16, it's still very wide at number 7. So you don't have a good shot to get that oxer properly. We may see some just go around that new obstacle to keep the speed up because it's a very wide oxer, probably the widest on the course at number 7. So you got to be a little bit careful to make sure you get a forward distance there. You don't want to end up too deep. For sure going to have the back pole. And like you said, that could really pitch you out to the left and give many more strides to the last jump.
Yeah,
so
and it's a bit of a blind turn coming around that gazebo also. When I was out there walking before the start of the class and was trying to imagine what that jump off course was going to look like, of course, we didn't have the benefit of the jumps being removed as they just did before the jump off. But I was just trying to say, I wonder if there's even a possibility to get there accurately to fence number 7. We'll find out.
Yeah.
As we get underway here with Elena Haas just about to make her way through under that signature International Arena arch, which is the bridge overcoming the in-gate area here at the main arena at Wellington International. And there are the riders led by Elena, the first one to get through the first round clear. And she's going to come back to us now aboard Kos van Eist. She's the owner rider of this 14-year-old Belgian gelding by Bremersen Adorado, number 272.
So she got us started with a beautiful first round. She rode so solidly, and she really paved the way for everybody else. Yeah. All right, and so she's coming off here, number 15, to the first jump. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So she does 12 there. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. She does a good job. A little bit of a rub there. I think she did 8. Not actually 100% sure.
It's a funny angle for us to watch from over here to figure that out. But
yeah, and then she goes steady into this double verticals. Again, very delicate. Horse almost trips a little bit in the middle. Right-hand turn here. She does go around to the IDA development, has the front pole. She was just, the speed was picking up. Again, we talked about in the first round, the horse needs a little bit of time on takeoff. Space to the last.
Yeah, steadied up a bit there to the Liverpool oxer just to make sure that that one rail at number 7 was the only rail she saw, and that is what takes place. 45.44 is the jump-off finish time out of 47 seconds allowed. She has 4 faults in the process there, and that's going to leave the door open to see whether the next one can improve on that. Elena Haas sets the standard of 4 faults to start things off, and Abigail McCardle will be next. Here she comes out of her Barrington, Illinois base aboard Olympia van het Eikenhof. Olympia van het Eikenhof is that 10-year-old Belgian mare by Elvis Terputz, the second rider for the U.S.
And again, we know that she can be that Abigail can be very, very fast. She did win the Challenge Cup early on in season. So this horse having a very big stride. She just needs to kind of keep the pace up right from the start and then try not to pull on the reins anywhere and just let him guide around the course and not break up the rhythm. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So she is on the move. Like I said, she's got to use this horse's big stride, not worry about anything trying to pull if you pull on the reins on a horse like this, it's hard to get that rhythm back up. So she goes around, keeps it up, takes the long one. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I think there might be a 10 there. But super round for her. Abigail jumping the double clear, 40.95.
What a time there, especially in light of what we just saw from Elena, 45.44. She knocks about 5 seconds off there, and Olympia van het Eikenhof will be the front runner right now. And look at that big, beautiful effort over the Mars Equestrian Oxer early on there.
And a big smile from Abigail. I think she knows that she laid down quite a lot of pressure for those to come behind her, because now they got to chase her. And like I said, horse had a huge stride. She covered the ground really well. She didn't really pull on the reins anywhere. And maybe could have done one less to the last, but that was a super round to lay down So that time of 40.95 will become the time to beat. But let's see if your other pick
Yeah, I sort of had two picks before we started off here. I sort of thought after my experience with Connor over the last couple of weeks that Connor Swale might be a front runner here or one to watch. But Anna Dryden, I would certainly not mind seeing with a win either. She's here aboard Gypsy Love, Double Meadows Farm entry, and the 10-year-old mare by Guillaume Sun. Third of 13 to go.
And she's off. Good shot here. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Does a couple more strides. Again, this horse doesn't have the stride length of Abigail's, but it is quick across the ground and much more adjustable. Steadies up a little bit early maybe here coming into the double. It is double verticals. You need to come in balanced. They're looking like they're all choosing to go around. I do think we might see somebody try to go inside there. Galloping here to the last. I don't think she's going to catch her. Steadies up here.
And she looked like she got 12 to that last fence there on her way down. Yeah, like you said, not the stride that we saw from Abigail, but she does go clear aboard Gypsy Love. She's going to finish out in 45.36 and will go into second place. So we've seen two clears now. Abigail McCardle at Olympia stay on top for the time being. This is the point of the order where we saw 3 in a row get into the jump off. A lot more after the break than before the break. And the only Chilean rider to get in was Samuel Perot Jr. Here he is aboard HFB Versace. 12-year-old warm-blood gelding by Verdi Tien.
Let's see what Versace can do. Sam can be very, very fast, just like his father.
He didn't come in with a lot of pace there on the way to
number one. No, he's a little
he?
bit patient. This is a different camera angle that we're looking at it here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And just looking like he's a little bit more patient than our leader at the moment. Beautiful jump here.
Ooh. Little trouble on the back.
And you can see him land off it and look back. Samuel actually looks back to see if it stays up, which can slow you down even more when you're worrying about if it comes up or not. And then horse playing a little bit in the middle of the line, that does slow him down, but he does get the double clear.
Time, is that an issue there? Yeah, we have a fault on the clock there. 47.37. He is over. Yeah, he definitely chose to take a steady route. He was looking for the clear jumping effort. It didn't look like at any point there he was really trying to lay down the quickest track, but just to get a penalty free. And he does it, except for on the clock.
Here he can look. He hears it. And then look, he looks back real quick there. Just checking to see, does it stay up? Still in the cups, buddy.
Allison Robitaille was just after Samuel in the initial order and comes back to us aboard the Allison Firestone LLC entry. 10-year-old Swedish mare by Durant. This is Danyi, number 3703.
Good angle, 1 to 2.
Yeah, she didn't have a lot of pace, but she did do an angle that would make up some time.
Absolutely. Steadies up a little bit through this turn, gets across that. I think she does the 9. She gets the 7 there.
Yeah, she was very direct on the slice from the Hermès vertical down to the Mars Oxer.
Tight turn back into the double verticals. She also, it looked like she almost thought to do the inside.
I was going to say.
Yeah, it almost looked like she looked at it and thought, whoa, I'm not getting there. No way I'm making that. Little bit of a reach there.
Coming close. She's going to be a little behind the pace. Maybe a second place effort.
11. And pretty good, but nope.
Into second, yeah, 44.56. Allison and Danyi currently on the podium in second place.
Shows you how fast Abigail was, 40.95. I mean, everyone else has been 44, 45, 47. I mean, no one's even close to that time. And I think that big smile on Abigail's face was showing it. She knew she was quick. Look, good shot there for Allison at the last.
Jessica Springsteen's ride for Stonehill Farm. Here's the 11-year-old Belgian mare by Cardento 933. It's Naomi Vanette Kiesershoff. And again, the time to beat right now is 40.95. It is a wide margin of lead at the top there for Abigail and Olympia.
But Naomi and Jess can be incredibly fast They've placed high in a lot of these meter 50 speeds throughout the season. And let's see if she goes for it. Good angle.
Yeah, we're seeing that jump from a different angle this time around, but it looked pretty close to what we saw from Allison going left to right on the way.
She gets the shot here, pitched a little right. Stays out to do the 8, but actually helps her angle right to left, so she's already turning back on the double. That will help her time. Sets this up nice.
Yeah,
goes around, so she's going to be quick. She's got to keep moving. This horse is quick across the ground, though. Nice shot. Land 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Does the 12.
Yeah.
Very quick, but not quick enough.
Yeah, I think she was maybe thinking about trying to get it in 11 there, but made a correction and wisely enough does so. She gets their penalty-free 41.27, and that's going to put her into that runner-up placing. That puts Allison Robitaille, of course, now into 3rd. Still quite a few to go. That was our 6th entry to compete out of 13 qualifiers for jump-off action here. 41.27 for Jessica and Naomi into 2nd.
So creep it up closer to.
Yeah, they're working on it. They're working on it. And again, possibly one stride less there could have made the difference, but it also could have pulled that rail on the Hermès Oxer at the end of the course.
That's always the risk.
Alex Matz and Cashew CR coming to us now. Alex for Dorothy Matz here with the 16-year-old Holsteiner gelding, a long-time combination for Alex. It's number 6723. He's trying to catch 40.95. Little shy on the way to the Bainbridge. It looked like Cashew CR sort of stutter step to the left just a little bit there on the approach.
Yeah, but he's picking up the pace now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Steadies up for the 8. Again, this horse not the biggest stride out there, but very, very quick. Have to see how much that stutter step at 1 will penalize him. But he's on the move here. He's got to keep going. Let's see what he does to the last. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Steadies up a little bit, but still pretty quick on the time. And that will put him into 2nd. So he beats out Jessica Springsteen.
7/100ths of a second difference there for Cashew CR. I would not have guessed that was that quick, honestly.
I thought this horse has really quick foot speed. And even though he did a couple more strides, he doesn't take too much time in the air. And Alex didn't pull on the reins at all. He was going, again, slowed up a little bit to the last. Everybody a little bit worried about those orange poles, but
yeah, so far that hasn't been the problem area at all on this course. In fact, we've only had one entry so far with a knockdown, another with a time fault, but the rest of them have been clear. Next to go is For Gold and Jordan Coyle for Falkirk Farm LLC, entry number 4565. Of course, the rider for Ireland up on the 13-year-old Holsteiner gelding by For Fashion. And this was potentially your pick for the win here tonight. We're certainly not biased. We're just going on the previous results to see who might get in there.
Exactly. And Jordan, of course, won on this horse. Yeah, Jordan won on this horse in the Challenge Cup a couple weeks ago.
Oh, what a slice there on the landing side of the Bainbridge vertical.
He landed. He is on the move. He's going to have to leave the jumps up, but he's going to be quick.
Yeah, he's already made up time on the front side of the course here for sure.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Chooses the 8, but he's already angling right to left, so he can be turning. He's inside everybody's tracks. Now he's got to slow up and jump these delicate verticals.
Wow.
Ooh. And he goes around, galloping, but he is on the move, absolutely flying, takes a good shot. 1, 2, 3,
For Gold
4,
putting in an incredible effort.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Steadies up at the end. He could have done one. He could have probably done 2 more. 2 less.
Yeah,
but he still takes over the lead.
That was a wise move there because it got him quicker, 39.69. I wonder what would have happened if he had gone ahead for the 11. He ended up fitting an extra one in there. And again, wisely enough, because he is the new leader in 39.69 For Gold, and your pick, Jordan Coyle, going to the top of the list right now. We'll see whether or not that holds up, because we've got Canada's Amy Miller on the order next. Here with Cristiano, number 3738, Future Adventures, the owners. This is a 14-year-old Dutch sport horse gelding by Canoso. Amy
We
Miller
know
again
she
running
can
for
be
Canada.
fast. We know she can be fast. She's already won one of these meter 50 classics earlier on in the season. Let's see if she can do it tonight. Time to beat now 39.69. First one to beat that 40-second barrier. She looks smooth, but I don't know if she's faster. Good shot here. Family watching from the kiss and cry.
Nice slice on the backside of the Mars. She was pretty much straight on the line to that oxer, but then made a nice turn afterward.
Oh.
Unfortunately, that was on the approach to the double of verticals, and the stop there is pretty much going to mean no chance for the win here, as she has a 4-fault penalty for the refusal and a 6-second penalty for needing to take time out to reset that fence.
Yeah, unfortunately, she came around the turn, and again, when you're in a jump off and you come around the turn, sometimes things just don't come up the way you want them to, and I think she obviously wanted to leave one less stride there, and just was not quite where she needed to be. They fixed that pretty quick, and she'll come back to it. And good horse to just be confident and gallop right through. That was just a miscommunication. I think she wanted one less, and the horse thought, I'm not getting there like that, especially into the double verticals with the gap. She'll steady up a bit to the last just to finish the course. Family looking a little, yeah, there you can see Ian Miller going, you know what, that's show jumping for you.
I think he said, well, shucks. I read the lips. I think he said shucks.
It's exactly what he said.
Heavens to Betsy, or something like that anyway. There's the look. A look at the stop. Actually, this is a look on the successful ride over the double of verticals. Amy wrapping up with a penalty of 4 jumping and 6 on the clock in 52.25. Now Carly Anthony is the first of 3 left and one of 2 U.S. riders still to go here. She'll be aboard Heavenly W for Portfolio Horses. Heavenly W is the 12-year-old Royal Dutch Warmblood gelding by Calvaro. And again, first of 2 U.S. riders, first of 3 overall remaining here.
Let's see what she does. Again, horse has a huge stride. Not as quick maybe across the ground as for Gold and Jordan Coyle, but great slice there at that oxer. Gets a good shot here. Gets the 7 easy. Like I said, huge stride this horse has. She's a little wider here into this double. Just taking her time.
Hits it on the angle, though.
She does a little left to right slice through the double.
See Mom Cara out there watching from the viewing area, our kiss and cry.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Oh, I
Big
thought she was
going
to do
the
the 10. Well done there. Penalty-free ride for Carly as she wraps up aboard Heavenly W. Her time, 41.64. She'll go into 5th place right now, 41.64 into 5th.
So she was smooth and quick, but almost 2 full seconds behind that leading pace of 39.69. Again, Jordan Coyle still the only one to have broken the 40-second mark.
Carly looking, yeah, she had to really go for it
Yeah,
there to
she had
set
a
up
kick
for
there at the end.
for the oxer at the end. And I actually have to say, you know, she got the 7 on the way to the Mars, and she almost like woed up to get that, which really is a testament to the size of the stride on Heavenly W. Last of our U.S. riders and the final opportunity for the Stars and Stripes to take back that lead. We'll see what Lily Keenan can do with Chansonet Farms kick on the 10-year-old stallion by Warrior.
Again, she won a Grand Prix just recently on this horse. Let's see how fast she goes. Good shot.
Works her way to the outside there to take that left to right angle over the first fence in the jump off.
She's looking good so far. I don't know if she's quite as quick as Jordan, but she's on the move here. Gets the 7. Remember, Jordan did 8 there. Steadies up a little bit here. Takes a little bit more time than Jordan did. Oh, and she's thinking about,
nice
man, she was thinking maybe the inside turn and then no chance. But she keeps moving here. I don't think she's quite on the pace. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Gets the 11 easy. Nice solid round there, but still 2 seconds off that pace.
41.85 is where she'll stop the clock. Penalty free, and into 6th place she'll go. And Jordan Coyle will be our leader. Connor Swale will be our last to challenge here. So we know for a fact it's going to be Ireland that gets the win. Which
Well, we got
Irish
Kendra,
rider
no?
is
We
it?
got
Oh, I'm sorry.
Kendra?
Excuse me. We do have Kendra. You are correct about
I think
that.
we got a German in
I
there who's
skipped
also
over
very
on-
fast. I don't think
and
she's letting
I
those
hope-
guys go easy.
I hope she doesn't listen to this later and come for my head, because she's earned every right to go after it here. Could be Germany or could be Ireland with the win. Stefek Stables entry with Kendra Clarcia Brinkhoff riding. This is 11-year-old Royal Dutch Warm Blood mare by Biscayo. It's in time. And as you said during her first round, she has been dominant since she got here. She hasn't been in Wellington for very long, spending the winter in Spain, but she has been very successful and consistent since her time in South Florida. And that's about as much of a slice as we've seen so far over the Bainbridge Vertical.
Oh, that was fast. Ooh, stutter
Wow.
step there. Horse just took a little bit of an extra pause as he took off.
I honestly got to give credit to her mount there. That was a nice clear over that Oxer for in time. I thought with the stutter step they were going to have a problem on the backside, but they made it work.
Yeah, and unfortunately, however, the top pole of the new obstacle at the Hermès coming down at the number 16. So that does mean it's going to be an Irish win. It's just a matter of which Irishman.
That I didn't make that happen. That was merely a slip of words there. But
takes a big one to the last, but with that fault, she'll end up having to settle in 10th at the moment.
4 faults the penalty, 41.97 the time for that 10th place ranking. And indeed, it does come down to the last rider for Ireland here, determining which Irish rider will win it, Jordan Coyle or Connor Swale. Jordan Coyle took the lead on for gold in 39.69, 4 rounds back.
Look at the horse
Connor
stuttered
Swale.
there. That was unbelievable.
Yeah, I got to say over that one Oxer,
That was
they
impressive.
really, I was absolutely surprised that they were able to get up and over that with the distance they made it to. And
Yeah, that was impressive.
but now Connor Swale is with us. Connor's going to come to us aboard Asta Tarokve's entry Gamble. He came in almost laughing, it would appear. That's sort of his full-time expression, I think. He always looks like he's having fun. But Gamble is the 13-year-old Royal Dutch Warm Blood gelding by Bingino. Last in the class, trying to be fast. 39.69 is the time to beat.
Jordan was so lightning fast, maybe only to the last, but this horse has a huge stride, and he is on the move. Whoa, look at that. But he's a little bit wider, so he's doing one more stride here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Steadies up in the 7, gets that easy. So this is a slower mover, but he's inside his tracks. This is super fast.
Wow.
Jumps, curls around that.
What
and
a
he does
slice.
the inside.
Oh, wow.
He's the only one who does the inside turn.
Is that going to
Can
pay
he leave
off,
it
though?
up? Let's see, Lynn. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Oh!
And does he
Wow.
get him? And he doesn't. He's in second.
Wow.
Look at that. He doesn't catch him, even making that inside turn. What an unbelievable effort there
But what a
from
difference.
Connor Swale.
0.15 seconds off of the leading time. It was oh so close. You know, we were wondering from the very start, would that inside turn make the difference? Well, for sure, it's a shorter distance, but to steady up to get to fence number 7, it looked like he had to whoa a little bit so that he didn't take down fence number 7, and that may have been the difference that caused that 0.1 second between first and second place.
Well, it looked like our 2 picks were pretty good. We ended up first and second.
All right. Well, we didn't put any money on it anyway.
No, we
so
didn't.
that's good.
Clearly, I should have. Now
All
I wish I
right.
had.
Connor Swale's time, 39.84. We had a 39.69 effort there for Jordan Coyle. Ireland, 1 and 2. And in that third position, it'll be Abigail McCardle. So at least the USA will get on the podium placings here with her 40.95 effort. As we wrap things up here in competition, I do want to take an opportunity to one more time say thanks to Hermès. And again, since the company's founding in 1837, Hermès remained dedicated to making high-quality, handcrafted equestrian products for the horse rider and barn. Their workshops maintain a tradition of saddle making passed down from generation to generation of skilled artisans. And with a strong commitment to innovation, Hermès integrates new materials and technology to develop high-performance technical apparel and equipment to meet the needs of riders at the highest levels of equestrian sport. $10,000 in credit to to Hermès is going to go out to our winner of the series. You're about to find out who that was coming up here very shortly. But while we finish this competition and thank Hermès for their sponsorship, we're also happy to have had Dodd Technologies with us for sponsorship of our live stream. They are an industry leader in creating design and technology support services for sports, entertainment, corporate, and special events. And they're found online at doddtechnologies.com. Also, thanks to USEF. Today's live stream is presented in part with the support of the United States Equestrian Federation and the USEF network. So those are the ones who have brought you the stream. And throughout the course of the evening, it's been my pleasure to be with you. I'm Brian Lookable along with Danny Weldon. And we have had an incredible evening of competition here, starting off with a total of 44 that showed in the first round, narrowing that field down to 13. And the top 3 will be coming in for the podium presentations. Diane Mahady from Hermès US will be with us to make the presentations in this championship final. Danielle, anything to say about this competition this evening?
I think that was quite an exciting jump off and got very close at the end, but it was nice to see a lot of these younger horses developing up to this level. I always think this is such a great class tonight, and of course thanks to Hermès for sponsoring such an important series for a nice developing stepping stone for the younger riders, younger horses to get under the lights and have an opportunity to have this atmosphere without having to jump meter 60. So I think super class here tonight, and we saw a very worthy winner because Jordan was lightning, and he went for gold tonight.
And for sure he did. I love the fact that the last rider, though, Connor Swale, took the gamble on gamble.
Oh,
so
look at
the
that.
inside cut inside of that Hermès vertical to make his way back to number 7. Kept all the fences up, but the time was just 0.1 behind, so he'll be second in those presentations. We might as well go ahead and turn it over to Jason Porter, who is handling things in the house for the evening here. He's been keeping the live audience in our international arena entertained all night long, and we'll let him do the honors of doing those presentations right now as Diane Mahady, president of Hermès US, is with us to welcome those winners. So we'll turn it over to Jason. And again, for myself, Brian Lookable, and Danny Weldon, thank you very much for being with us here on this Saturday Night Lights event, week 11 of 12 here in Wellington.
Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next time.
And finally got our top 3 back. The gate is down. We'll present, and here to present to our top 3, Diane Mahady, president of Hermès USA. Third place rider to come forward for photos. First, congratulations to Abigail McCardle, holding the lead for about half of the jump-off round before ultimately placing third with Olympia Van Eykenhoff. For the U.S. rider out of Barrington, Illinois, it's double clear tonight with a jump-off time of 40.95. Finishing third, the USA's Abigail McCardle. It was a valiant effort, but it was just short for Ireland's Connor Swill with the gamble. He'll be our next up for photos. Taking second place honors tonight for Asta Tarokve of King City, Ontario. Less than 0.2 of a second off of that winning pace to finish in second for Connor Swill with gamble. Another big win this season for the Irishman Jordan Coyle, top rider in our Hermès Meter 50 Series final. The win tonight for the Falkirk Farm with for gold 39.69 at that winning jump-off time for Jordan Coyle. Irishman with the win tonight with the 13-year-old Holsteiner gelding by For Fashion. Jordan Coyle and for gold, our top combination for the Hermès Meter 50 Series final. Our top three riders being provided Mainstream Munchies on behalf of Mainstream Streamline. Ladies and gentlemen, we ask that you please rise for the national anthem of Ireland to honor tonight's winner, Jordan Coyle. Yeah, congratulations to our top three. It's third award for Abigail McCardle with Olympia Van Eichenhoff, second for Connor Swill with gamble. But our winner and leading us on a lap of honor, Ireland's Jordan Coyle with for gold. At the conclusion of our Hermès Meter 50 series, the rider that has accumulated the most points is Canadian competitor Aaron Ballard with 260 points accumulated throughout the Hermès Meter 50 series. Aaron not with us this week, so we have Allison Robitaille with us accepting the award on her behalf, the $10,000 store credit to Hermès, as well as that beautiful blanket. Thank you, Allison, for being here with us for the presentation on behalf of Aaron Ballard, who was our series winner for the Hermès Meter 50 Championship Jumper Series. Thanks as well to Diane Mahady, president of Hermès USA, for being with us for the presentation this evening. Guys, Top Level Show Jumping continues tomorrow afternoon. Come join us at 1 o'clock for the $200,000 correction. IDA Development Grand Prix Big 4-Star competition with our first on course at 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon in that $200,000 class.